Hello everybody! We're gonna get rockin' and rollin' in just a second. Happy holidays! Merry almost Christmas! We only have like a week left. Not even. And today we are doing a really fun live stream. I'm very, very, very excited and a little nervous, which means that I'm very excited. But before I get going, today we're doing something a little bit different on as far as the live stream goes. There's a new option on YouTube to stream vertically and horizontally simultaneously. And it'll be dependent on, I think it's dependent on the device that you're watching it on. I'm not really sure how it works, but please in the chat let me know if you're watching it vertical or if you're watching us horizontal right now. I am very, very curious. Also, let me know how the sound is. Is the music too loud? I think it maybe is too loud. Is my voice too quiet? Maybe? I don't know. Let me know. I'll be on in just a second. I'm going to try turning the music down just a tad so it's not overdoing it in the background. Candle nights! Joyous candle nights to everybody. Yes. I didn't know candle nights was tonight. I didn't know. I should have known. Horizontal. Horizontal. Oh, it's horizontal on your phone. It's horizontal even. Very interesting. I am very curious on what the... Oh, I see what it's doing. It's straight up just cutting the video to be vertical. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I asked for. You goobers? They goobered me. They straight goobered me. That's not what it was supposed to do at all. Oh, I've been done diddly goobered. All right. Because now it's streaming in two different ways, which is not what I asked for. You, YouTube, you aren't listening to us. You think you're listening, but you're not listening. Linda, listen. Why are you even doing it that way, though? What good is it to stream it vertical, right, and cut it in that way? It doesn't make any sense, does it? It doesn't make any sense. I've been watching a lot of celebrity traders recently. Let me see if I can just disable. Nope, I can't. Oh, well, I can't stop it now. That's cool. That's great. Thanks, YouTube. You're super duper. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what to do here. I will be live in just a moment. Apparently, we are vertical and we are horizontal. Watch horizontal here. I'm gonna put a pinned post on the vertical one to watch the horizontal one. And that's just the way. I like it. That's just gonna be how it gonna be. Because now that I started things the wrong way, I can't do anything about it. And I can't stop it without stopping the entire live stream. Which is a choice, YouTube. It's a choice. That's one way to do things. I honestly can't believe they did it that way. That's crazy to me. All right. Let's see. Can I? okay. All right, whatever. We're just going to try it. We're just going to let it do what it's doing and hopefully keep track of both and do our best. I'm going to make sure that the other live stream that is portrait right now does require people to be subscribed, to comment, so that way it helps our moderators out. By the way, I'm going to shout them out again in just a bit, but big ol' shout out to our moderators, Cooper and Zoe. Thank you for being here. We're going to be live in just a second, and we got a big one. We got a big old stream for us today. There we go. All right. Wow, there's a lot of people watching on the other one. That's funny. Okay, well, we'll just keep them both open and just kind of like deal with it, I guess. All right, let's rock and roll. Everybody ready? Are you ready? Are you ready, Freddy? Freddy, are you here? Where's Freddy? Okay. Hold on, I need a sip of coffee or I'll die. Ah, coffee. The elixir. The elixir of life. Let's rock and roll. Hello. Hello, look at my little elf hat. Isn't that cute? Aren't I cute? Am I cute? Am I cute yet? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you are I hope you are having a wunderbar. A wunderbar. Look at this. I just realized I can have a little magnetic guy there in my camera. That's kind of fun. I hope you're having a wonderful holidays. I hope it's just been great. And I'm gonna guess, just gonna guess, that you have not finished all your Christmas gifts yet. Well, that's no worries, because we're here to make a new Christmas gift. Yes! We're making Christmas gifts today, but we're not just making any kind of Christmas gifts. Volume is low again. Oh, hold on. Okay, we don't need the little chat box on screen is what I have heard. So if we do that, is that a little bit better? Okay. How does that? Is that a bit better? Is that a bit better? It is. Hope that helped. All right. So today, I gotta hit this. There we go. Today we are crocheting. Oh wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. I just realized another thing. I have to delete some footage here because this thing. I don't have enough space on my thingamabob. There we go. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. Hi, chat. Hello, chat. Hello, everybody. I know. I'm all goobery today. And is it fixed? Did I fix it? No. Delete. Sorry, I'm much more unprepared than I thought I was. It'll fix. Let's hope. Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be crocheting a brand new pattern. Well, it's kind of a modified pattern of a previous pattern. It's going to be a little bit of both. So we are going to be modifying our, probably one of my favorite patterns from the year, our gnome home today. To be, instead of a gnome home, we're going to make it a gingerbread house. That's the idea. And instead of a gnome, we're going to make this into a little tiny elf. So there is the goal for today. We have got a crazy live stream ahead of us, though, because that's quite a lot of things to make and design live. So we got to get rocking and rolling. So let's get through our intros as soon as possible. Okay, so that's what we're making today. If you want to crochet along with us, here's what you need. We're going to be using worsted weight yarn in 100% cotton, my favorite kind of yarn to use. You can use really any kind of yarn you want. Worsted weight cotton's just my favorite. Because of that, we're going to be using a variety of colors. Probably a lot of colors, to be completely honest, including probably jute for the main section of our gingerbread house. We'll need white for the top. We're going to need red. We're going to need a bunch of different colors for gumdrops and candy canes. And we'll need brown for the door. And then for the elf, we're probably just going to utilize relatively the same colors. Maybe a little bit of yellow as well. Yeah, maybe a little bit of yellow as well. What else do I need to tell you? Oh, yes, a hook. If you want to crochet along with us, I'm going to be using a size G 4mm crochet hook. You can find it anywhere that you have a crochet hook. I don't know. I'm just going off the seat of my pants, you guys. You'll need some scissors for cutting stuff. You'll need a darning needle for sewing in hard-to-reach stitches. Okay, you get the gist. You need stuff. But you also need the pattern. If you want to crochet along with us today, the pattern is going to be available right here at clubcrochet.com. There should be a link in the description as well. There should be a link linked at the top of the chat as well. And, okay, that's everything that you need to get crocheting while you're grabbing all your materials. Oh, by the way, if you want to crochet something different, if you don't want to make a gingerbread house, no worries. We have a bunch of patterns in the library available. And, that's that. If you want to support today, there's a bunch of different ways you can support. Oh my gosh, thank you for considering supporting. That was so sweet of you to just think of randomly and not me bring up. Wow. If you want to help support monetarily, I'm a goofball today. If you want to help support monetarily, there are a few ways to do so. Probably the best way is with a Club Crochet membership. Members get early access to future patterns. They get access to the exclusive library of tutorials. I come out with new ones every few weeks. I've been in a little bit of a dry spell, but I did come out with a new one this week for our... Oh, wait, I have it in the other room. Ugh. Maybe I'll go grab it in a second. I made a biblically accurate angel pattern, and it is on the website right now, available for members. It's crazy. It's from our last live stream. It was wild. Seriously. Crazy wild, super fun. I highly suggest you check it out. And if you want to check it out, all you need to do is go to clubcrochet.com right there. Okay, so that's all the membership stuff. If you want to become a member, please check it out, clubcrochet.com. We have a whole bunch of patterns, and it's really a great way to help support this channel. Other ways you can help support this channel, we have merch and kits and other fun items in the store. It's not too late to get a Christmas gift for someone. It might take a little bit more time than Christmas, but not very much at this point. So if you buy it today, it should get there pretty quick. Hopefully like a day after Christmas. I don't really know how shipping works, but it shouldn't take too long. It depends where you're at. If you're in America, it might actually get there by Monday. But yeah, order stuff today. We have a whole bunch of kits in the shop, and my favorite new thing in the shop, Lava Run. This is our new board game that I just came out with, where you help a dinosaur escape a volcano, and you can crochet your pieces, but you don't have to crochet them. You just can if you want to. I highly suggest you check this out too. You can find more about this at lavarungame.com, or just get in our shop, clubcrochet.com. Okay, last way you can help support merch, kits, like this video down below, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and the last way to help support is with a tip. If you really like what's going on here, you do not have to do this, but if you like it and you think what's happening is really cool, you can tip the channel. And if you tip the channel, all you have to do is hit the dollar icon in the bottom of your chat. If you tip the channel while we are live streaming, look at this. Since we have this cool little thing here that was definitely not on purpose, I can put a little magnetic character on screen. So we're gonna change this out here. Wait, let me see if I can turn the camera just slightly. Yeah, just a bit, so we can be more on camera. I will change this out for whoever tips. So Tina tipped, which means we're gonna change this little tiny bat, which, by the way, look how cute this bat is. It's a little Keese bat from Zelda. Very cute. We're gonna change it out for a goblin because Tina, first off, thank you so much, Tina. But also, Tina is like essentially like Duke-S. Is that a thing? Of goblins. She is of goblin royalty at this point. And so we're gonna add a little goblin for Tina. Thank you, Tina. This should have a magnet in it. You can name this little guy if you would like to, Tina. And I think the magnet should mean... Yes, look at that. We have our little goblin hanging upside down. Just like... Wait, let's do it on this one. Yeah, that's hilarious. I love that. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Well, let's do it like... We'll do it like that. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Thank you for the support. Duchess, thank you. That's it. She's Duchess of Goblins. Okay. I believe that's everything I wanted to say. And supports and... Oh, yeah, safety eyes, too. If you want safety eyes, we're going to probably be using 6mm safety eyes. I forgot to mention that. Is there anything I'm missing, team? I don't think so. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to put this to the side just a little bit so we can draw out what we are making today. Because we got to draw this out. It's going to make our life a lot easier if we have a drawing. Look at that. That yarn one. It was like, use me. We are going to be making a gingerbread house, but we're working off of our gnome home pattern. So it's going to be starting with our gnome home, and then we want to just kind of essentially customize it into a gingerbread house. So let's go ahead and just start by drawing it out. Gnome home top is basically like that. We're gonna do essentially like a big gumdrop on the top as our like chimney. Well, we actually might add a chimney, but there's this little top thing, and usually you can actually have it so it's like that instead. So we're gonna do one of those as a gumdrop, and then we're gonna cover the top layer in gumdrops too. So we'll put like a bunch of gumdrops along the top, just because, you know, gingerbread house. It right now it looks like mushroom top, but it's gonna be colorful, and we'll do white for the top there. Instead of this layer on the side right here, instead of that, we're gonna do a drippy border. Actually, we might do both. We might do this thing, and on top of that, do a little drippy border, so it looks kind of like icicles, but also frosting. So something like this, you know, kind of looks like a cupcake a little bit right now. That's all right. So we'll do something like that. I'm thinking, Lincoln. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. Okay, then we're gonna need the main body of our house. So that's gonna be relatively the same, like that. And like that, we'll go out, and then there'll be a little bottom section, just like this. Okay. Hold on. I just realized I can't see both chats at the same time. There we go. Now I can see both chats. Beautiful. It's beautiful, isn't it? Oh, it's beautiful. Okay. So that's our main body there. We're gonna need a door. Simple door. I think we'll do a curved door like that. We can also do like a hobbit hole door, you know, like a circle as a door instead if we wanted to. So we'll probably make that decision up later. I was thinking we could do a curved door like this so we can make it into like, look like it's made out of chocolate. So we could do like just lines on it like it's supposed to be a broken up piece of chocolate kind of thing. Maybe. I'm not, no promises here, but we could maybe do little cubes like that in it. I don't know about that. That might be a little too extra. But, you know, just in case. Window. We need a window. And I'm thinking that for the window, we do like kind of a swirly, what's it called? Like peppermint? Something like that. Maybe one more like that. And then, you know, every other thingamabob here would be kind of like this. So it would be like a peppermint window. Starting to get candy, right? And then candy canes. I think we need 2 candy canes. I'm actually thinking we do like straight up and down candy canes, like they're kind of pillars on the house. Kind of like that. Sort of like that, and then we make this into candy canes too. By the way, chat, I am open to suggestions here. I'm just making this up as I go. I was thinking about this slightly before this, but not that much, honestly. I was like, you know what? We will improvise this more to make it even more improvised. But I'm thinking something like that. And then we could do a chimney, an actual chimney. That could be kind of fun. We could also try doing a... There we go. We could also try doing like some more gumdrops right here as like little planters. Maybe we could do flowers for the gumdrops. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of weird. I think that's everything that we need. I don't think we're going to do it as a strapped one. So there's kind of like two ways to make these gnome homes. One way is like this, where it's got this long strap that you can actually use to like hang it or to hold it, like kind of like a purse. Or you can do it this way, so it's just basically a house with that can open up. I think we're going to do it this way because it gives us more options for like just making it a little cleaner and a little bit more customizable. But I am open to thoughts there. We can do a whipped cream for the bushes. We could try doing whipped cream for the bushes. We also probably, actually this row right here, we probably should do in white. Also, maybe we could do like a layer as we're making the house part of like frill essentially that's made with like frosting across the outside. Just like what are those? Like, just like stylistic, you know? Like the ones with the square containers outside. Yeah. I think I get what you're saying. Hi, that's a little guy. Hello in the other chat. Hello. Okay. I think that's everything that we need as far as like a drawing goes, right? That's like, I think that's a lot. That's enough. Now for the elf, we're just making an elf. That's not too crazy. And I actually think we probably should start with the elf. Just because I know that by the end of this live stream, I'm going to be pretty tired. And if I'm tired and I have just one extra thing to make, I think I'm going to quit. So I don't want to do that. So I want to get ahead of that and make an elf first as we make our, as we prepare our gingerbread house. I can speak. What? I can talk words. I can talk wordly. Here's a couple things that I would love from the chat today. The first thing that I love for the chat is for everybody to be very nice to each other. That's easy. You guys already got that. Second thing, Cooper, if you can, I'd love your help writing this down. This pattern probably will not venture too far away from our original gnome home pattern. So if you want to just duplicate that and work off of it, that probably would be best. It will, I guarantee you, will be less complicated than last week's pattern. So that's the first thing there. Second thing, I need Zoe's help with names. I want to get name suggestions from the chat. We're going to get names for the elves, and we're going to do votes for that. But the main thing I want your help with names is naming last week's angel. Let me go grab it, actually. I'll be right back. I'm right here. I'm still here. Okay. I really want to give... Oh, look at that angel. Isn't it glorious? Spectacular, even? So our angel from last week... I really want to give this one a name. So I was thinking maybe the chat could come up with some good name ideas, and then we could like vote on a name throughout this live stream. Because I don't know, I just realized after last week's live stream that we went so long and it was so difficult that I never actually got a name for our angel. So name suggestions in the chat, that would be cool, if you are able to. Okay. That's everything. I believe it is time. Let's get hooking! Alright. Here's what we need to get hooking today. We're gonna need... I want to do an elf that's essentially a gnome. So I'm gonna do it in green. And I'm thinking we do... So I'm looking for my dark green right now. There's some. I'm thinking we do... dark green for the top. We do a little bit of... We do light green for the bottom. We do red for the pantaloons. Do I have a better red here? No, I guess not. Okay, that's fine. We do red for the pantaloons. We do, we'll do just jute for the skin tone just to make it easy. And we need yellow for some hair. I don't believe we need white. And I think that's that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for an elf. Oh, wait, you know what? There's one other thing I really wanted. That's it. There it is. I knew it was here. Let's sew on this little... Can you hear it? There you go. You can hear it. It's a little tiny bell, and we'll sew this onto the top of our elf to give it even more of an elfy look. Okay, and then we're also going to need name suggestions on elves later on. And any thoughts you guys might have about what to do for our gingerbread house, I am all ears. Get it? Because I got ears on my hat. Okay, let's get crocheting. I think it'll start with a dark green. We'll do a dark green hat, and then a skin tone for the main part, light green for the t-shirt, red for the pants, and then the bell I think is really going to sell it that this is an elf. That's what I'm thinking. That is what we are thinking today. Ooh, interesting names. Scratch? Slinky? I'm liking those names from the chat. That's on the other chat. Unfortunately, we got a double chat situation going on. Chit chat, skit scat. We're gonna go and get started on that. All right, so I'm gonna try my best to explain this as we go, as far as our elf goes. Even though this is essentially the gnome pattern. But without the beard and stuff. So we're going to start with a magic loop, as we normally do. And I'm going to do 6 single crochets into the center of the magic loop to get started there. So, honestly, it's going to be essentially the exact same, but in different colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, and no beard. 5, and 6. That'll be the end of round 1. Round 1 for the elf. For round 2, I'm going to just single crochet into every stitch around. That's going to be 6 single crochets around. Just for round 2 of our little elf hat here. We're just going to keep this one simple. And we're going to talk to the chat as well. If you're watching us live and you're in the chat, hello. Hello, hello. If you're watching this after the fact, well, you should subscribe and hit the little bell icon and join our live streams. They're super fun. Okay, so that is going to be round 2. That's pretty good. And for round 3, we're going to increase up to 8 stitches around by doing 2 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated twice to go from 6 to 8. As we do. Ooh, Rasputia is the name suggestion from Erica in the chat today. Interesting name. Is that the name suggestion for our angel from last week or for this elf? I'm open to, honestly, either one. Either one could be a funny name. All right, I believe this is going to be the end of, oops, there you go. End of round 2, or sorry, round 3. Round 4, we're just going to do single crochets into every stitch around, so just 8 single crochets around. Yarniel. Oh my gosh, that's such a good name for the angel, Kaylin. I love that. I do like Yarniel. Alright, so 8 single crochets around for this round 4. There we go. Alright, and I think that's essentially the length that I want for the hat for our elf. Go ahead. I'm going to cut this tail end here. Wait, should I cut the tail end? You know what? I won't cut the tail end. We're going to use it, actually. Let's go ahead and utilize this tail end. We're going to have it come out through the top, like this. and that way we can use it later on. I've got a plan, I've got a strategy. We're thinking ahead here. We're going to use this later on to sew on our bell. So we'll sew this onto the top using our tail end. And then we'll use our other tail end from the very end to double knot together. Look at us. Look at us. That's called optimization. Optimization. Working in the front loops only for round 5. All of the front loops only. Okay, not both loops, not the back loop, the front loop only. We're going to single crochet 3 and then increase once. So 1, and front loops only. Don't forget that one right in the front there. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll do an increase right here. So that means 2 in the same. 1 and a 2. And then the plan is to do that twice. So let's do that once more. Simple, easy, squeezy. Lemon peasy. All right, 3, and then an increase right here will get us up to 10 stitches around, worked only in that front loop. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then we're going to slip stitch to the very first stitch that we made. That's going to be right there to connect it together. All right, now let's go ahead and we're going to cut this yarn. And we actually can just hide this end in before we get going on our next color. So I'm going to go into the back of that stitch, then into the top of this one, into some stitches on the inside there, and then all the way down to the bottom right there. All right, now we're going to fold that last round up to reveal those unused back loops from our previous round, which are kind of hard to see there. You kind of see them. See this? Right there? That's our unused back loop. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do a single crochet into all of those stitches using our jute. So we're going to change into our new color now. So we're going to go ahead and grab some of our jute. Should I do the elf's nose as like pointy, or should I do the elf's nose as like rounded like the gnomes? This is a very good question. So should it be like this? So this is the gnome's nose. That's it rounded? Or should it be more like this? That's our goblin's nose. You can see it's a little bit more pointed. What do you guys think? Pointy or rounded for the nose? I'm kind of pro rounded just because it's a little bit cuter and a little bit more of like a little button nose. But I don't know. I guess I'm open to thoughts. I am open to thoughts. I'm reading the chat as we go, by the way. But while we get your guys' opinions there, I'm not going to do it as a vote just because we need to make that decision right now. I'm going to count backwards from 10. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's only 9. Where am I missing one? Oh, right. Duh. It's only 8, actually, because of the... Yeah. I'm a goof. All right, so we should start from this stitch where this end is coming out of. We'll get our crochet hook into that stitch. Yeah, like that. And we're going to make a loop in our jute yarn and yarn over, and we're going to pull that through and then make a chain in that jute. Like that. Boop. And then I'm going to, we're going to work into these unused back loops only from round 4. And we're going to do a single crochet into, we're going to do 3 single crochets to start. So right here, we're going to start 1. Oops, I want to work around that tail end as we go too. So let's take this tail end here, like that, and we'll single crochet around it. So we got 1 there, and then 2 is going to go here. That's pretty good. Pull that tail end a little tighter there. We can just let that tail end go now. And then we're going to do 3, which is going to be right here. Nice, so that's 1, 2, 3. And then we'll do an increase into the next stitch, but in between the increase, we want to make our ears. So in this next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet to start us off right there. And then we're going to do an ear. And for our ear, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to skip that first chain, and then we're going to work into the back loop of the second chain from the hooks right here. And we'll do a slip stitch in that first one. Like that. And then I'll do a single crochet into the second back loop of our chain. And then I'll make our ear. And then we're going to work one more single crochet into the same stitch that we just worked into. Like that. And that is going to be the first half of our little elf's head. Okay, now we want to add our second half, which is going to include the face part, which means that we need our nose suggestion. And looks like Takoyaki in the chat said rounded nose. I think that's the only person that really said that had much of an opinion there. So we're going to go with it. Because I kind of agree. I think I agree. I think a rounded nose is the right way to go. So we're going to go one single crochet into our first stitch here. And then our rounded nose. For a rounded nose, we're basically doing a bump. So for a bump, we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, and yarn over and pull it through. Then yarn over and pull through 2, 1, 2. And then we're going to do that same thing one more time. Yarn over into that same stitch. Yarn over and pull it through. Yarn over, pull through 2. And yarn over and pull through all the loops to finish that little nose up. About it cute. I also love that the hat kind of is folded up. Normally I fold that hat back down after these rounds, but I think we're going to probably keep it folded up for this pattern. We'll see. All right, next up we want to do, we did our nose there. Now we want to do one single crochet after our nose into that back bump. And then we want to do that little increased stitch with the ear in between into the next stitch. So we'll do one single crochet, and then we're going to do an ear by chaining 3, skipping our first chain, slip stitching into the next one here, and then single crocheting into that last stitch here, and then one more single crochet into our same stitch right here to make that an increase, and that'll finish up that round. That would be round 6 if you are following the written instructions of the gnome pattern or this elf pattern that I probably have come out with by now. Okay, so that's going to be the end of that row. Now, Kaylin had a quick question in the chat. They said, why do my ears end up so teeny tiny? That is a great question. I don't know. Maybe there's a couple things that you could be doing. It could be that you're crocheting a little too tightly. Or it could be that you just need to make these ears a little bit bigger. And if you want to make these ears bigger, Kaylin, I would change it. I would chain, instead of chaining 3, I would chain 4, skip that first slip stitch, or skip that first chain, slip stitch into the second, and then single crochet into the next 2. And that'll make your ear just 1 stitch longer. It might look a little bit better. Honestly, it might look really cute in general to do that, whether or not you're having a tiny ear problem. That could actually help a lot. Okay. This elf looks like me? Well, ain't that just the way? Look at that. It kind of does. Okay, now we're on round 7 of our little elf guy, and that's just going to be to single crochet into all the stitches and try to avoid the ears. We're going to keep the ears on the outside of our piece this time. Okay. So once you get to an ear here, I'm going to pull my loop out, pull the ear over, and skip the ear and work into the single crochet instead. Now, if you want a more detailed tutorial for this, I highly suggest checking out the gnome pattern, because I go into a little bit more detail during that gnome pattern, and this is the exact same pattern, except we're going to skip the beard part. Put that out, and we're on our last stitch right there. Okay. I believe that's going to be our last stitch. But we do want to change to our shirt color after this. So now we want to change to our shirt color. I'm definitely going to do lime, like a light green here for the shirt. This is very much an elfy kind of color, I think. By the way, I have strong opinions on elves. Not that I don't like elves or anything, but I'm pretty sure that Santa's elves are just gnomes that shave. That makes so much more sense to me. I don't know. I've been writing letters in. I haven't gotten any confirmation yet, but I'm pretty sure. I'm on a big conspiracy theory here about gnomes and elves being the same thing. Because elves, I mean, that's Santa's elves. I will say there's a difference between Santa's elves and regular elves. And anyhow, I'll let you know if I get more information on this. Okay, our next round, we're on round 8. We're going to single crochet 4 times. I'm going to work around that jute just to keep it locked into place. And then I'll cut it. And we don't actually need that until we get to the gingerbread house now. But for this round, we're going to single crochet 4 and then do a bump. And that bump is going to represent our arm. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 single crochets to get us started there. And then our bump is going to be the same way that we made our nose. We're just going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull through, and pull through 2, and then repeat that again. Easy. Could I make the shoes pointed? Yeah, we could totally do the shoes pointed. I love that. Let's do that. That is great suggestion. Who said that in the chat? Jazzy. Hey, Jazzy. How you doing in the chat? I love that idea. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, so that's going to be the bump. Now we're going to do that same repeat again. So 4 single crochets and then another bump to make the other arm. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then our other bump is going to be right here. 1 and 2, and pull through. And there we go. That'll be round 8. They're looking very cute right now, I have to say. And we're going to add our little bell and some eyes in just a moment. But let's do one more round before we do that. This is going to be round 9, if you're crocheting along with us. For round 9, I'm just doing a single crochet into every stitch around. Kind of a pretty simple round of just single crochets. So just a nice, easy round. All single crochets. All the time. K, 5, 4, and 7. 4.4. Join the radio station today. That's supposed to spell out Santa, but it's in numbers. It wasn't. Listen, I can't make really good jokes and crochet at the same time. Sometimes it's hard to do. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so that's the last of our single crochets for round 9. Now before, you know what? Yeah, we'll go ahead and pull through with this green. We're going to undo this in a second to add our pant color, but we'll pull it out for right now. We'll come to the pants in a second. But before we do that, let's add some eyes and maybe our little bell at the top as well. So let's go ahead and let's start with the eyes. I'm using 6mm safety eyes today, just because they're a little bit, they're like kind of the perfect size for what we're working with here. These are little locking backs as well. There we go. Oops. All right. Yes, you can ask for advice. We do have a Discord channel, actually. You can find it at clubcrochet.com/Discord. There should be a link in the description as well. For the eyes, I'm going to go, I think it's just 1 stitch. Yeah, it's 1 stitch away on either side of the nose. So here's our little nose. So our 1 stitch away will be right like that. There we go. Let's get a little closer. Like that for our first stitch. And then the other one's going to be 1 stitch away on the other side, which I guess will be right there. Yeah, that looks good, right? I like that. I like that. I think that's good. And then I'm just going to use our little locker here. We're going to lock these eyes in the inside. There we go. And I've had a decent amount of coffee. I've only had 1. I'm just excited, Zoe. Sorry for being excited. You want me to be fine? Let's continue the live stream talking like Eeyore. Oh, bother. Next stitch. Hold on, I can get this. There we go. Next thing you want to do is we're going to add our bell on the top. All right, for the bell, I can't keep talking like that. It's unnatural for me. I'm gonna like spin this end at the top that came out the top there. And we're gonna go right through inside of that. If I can get all of the threads through it. Come on. Here we go. All them threads. And now we got a cute little bell. I think this bell is a great idea. All right, now what we're going to do is I'm going to come and thread this onto a needle. And I'll go right back into the top there. And I'm going to come out. Let's go like this. Well, yeah, we'll go like right here on the back. So I'm just going to come out. Actually, let's go in the hat. We'll come out through a stitch on the hat like that. Yeah, nice. Hopefully this bell doesn't prevent us from entering our gingerbread house later. Hopefully it doesn't make it too tall. We'll find out. And then we're going to thread, I'm going to thread this evergreen end. This is from the tail end from the other side of the hat. And I'm going to come out through the same stitch as our other tail end. And then we could just double knot these two together and it should keep the bell on top. I'll just double knot it nice and tight. And then send a letter to Santa and wish for the bell knot to come off this Christmas. Okay, we're going to cut that close. And then I'm going to take the end of my scissors here and we'll just go ahead and tuck that in there. There we go. Now we got a bell. Nice. Okay, we only have actually a couple more rounds left. And we did get a request to make the feet pointy. We got to do brown, right? Yeah, the feet will be brown. That makes sense. It's got to be that way. It got to be that way. But we need the pants. I want the pants to be red. Feet brown, pants red. So we're going to pull a loop out from this stitch here. So we can change to our red yarn. And get my cat's fur out of the yarn. And we're going to switch over to red. There we go. Nice. Okay. All right. Where are we at? Cool. Okay, so next up we're going to do our last round here. Or, sorry, we got 2 more rounds, technically. It's kind of like barely 2 rounds, though. We're going to do 5 stitches in our red here. And then we're going to change to our brown just for the feet. So that's the plan. Move that over. I'll crochet around our green just to get 1 stitch over. That. That's pretty good. And we'll go ahead and tuck these little ends in the inside too. And we wanted 5 in red. 1, 2. Get that thread out of there. Get out of there, thread. What are you even thinking? You don't even go here. There's 1, 2, 3. We'll go 4. And then here's 5. Before I finish the 5th one, though, we want to pull through with our brown yarn, since we want to do our feet in different color. And we're going to do these pointed, if we can. I don't know how good these are going to look pointed, but we're going to try it. This is for whoever requested it. We pull through with our brown. And we're going to do our pointed shoes by doing a bump with a chain 2 between it. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 to start that. And then I'm going to chain 2 with all the yarn still on there. Here, I'll get a little closer for you. Chain 2, we're going to 1 and 2. And then once I chain 2, I'm going to pull that nice and tight to create a point. And then I'm going to do 1 more of that like double crochet half into the stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over and pull that through, then yarn over and pull through 2, 1 and 2. And then we're going to switch back to our red yarn and finish up by pulling through all those loops. And that hopefully will make our shoes brown and pointed. They kind of look pointed. We might have to like tweak it to make it point up. Oh, you think we should have done the shoes in the same green as the hat? Well, too little, too late. All right. Next up, we did the bump. We're going to do 3 single crochets between feet. So we'll go 1 there. I'll just work around the brown as we do these 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to switch back over to our brown to do our last shoe in brown yarn. Yeah, and we'll pull through with red to finish this stitch up. We're going to do this other shoe the exact same way, where I'll do a half of a double crochet, chain 2, then another half of a double crochet into the same stitch, and then yarn over. Oh wait, we want to yarn over in red and pull through all the stitches in red. Pretty good. Okay. And then for our very last few stitches, did that really make the shoes pointy is the question. I mean, kinda. They did a little bit. It kinda added a little bit of a point. Probably have to tweak it later on. For our last few stitches, we're going to do one invisible decrease. And I'm going to work around our brown as I do this last stitches. One invisible decrease, worked around the brown. One single crochet. And I think that's enough for working around the brown yarn. So we'll cut that close. There we go. And then one more invisible decrease. We'll finish up. Oops. We'll finish up our elf here. And then we can cut the yarn. You don't need a very long end. This is just going to be for sewing it closed. We'll just pull it all the way through. Boop. There we go. Okay, so there's the main part of our elf. We do need to add hair. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and sew closed, and then we can add our little bit of hair, I think. Yeah, we're going to do it that way. So we're going to stuff it just an itty bitty bit amount. We'll just use our extra threads to stuff it. And then we'll sew it closed. Oh, did you hear that sneeze? That was my cat. No, the feet were actually. You can probably just repeat Cooper. If you look at the goblin pattern, the feet were made exactly how the goblin's nose is made. So if you want to write it down, that is going to be how it's written down. And actually, it probably would be helpful if you could write that in the chat on how I actually said that in that pattern. That might help me out. Okay, I'm just gonna stuff it up just a little bit. Just a wee bit of stuffing. Just a wee bit of stuffing. So, what, elves? I would say Christmas elves, gnomes, and leprechauns all are in the same kind of like little cute guy category. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe they're all the same, but from different places. All right, we're going to thread this on our needle, and I'm just going to sew this closed by going into the front loops of each stitch. I'm going to go out the front loop of the first stitch, and then, or in the front loop of the first stitch, out the front loop of the next stitch like that. And I'll just do that all the way around. So there's one, out the first, boop, and second, one, and two, and one, and two. And before we go and fully pull this closed, let's add a couple of magnets into the base. Now, we don't need to do this, obviously, but this way our elf can be nice and secretive and hide in places that we wouldn't know. So we got some strong little magnets on the bottom there. And then we could just go ahead and pull this nice and tight to close it up. Yeah, those feet, I think the feet kind of worked. They kind of worked, yeah. All right, and then we just want to hide this end onto the inside and then out somewhere on the back. I think one thing I could do if I was making another elf is I might pull that loop through before changing to brown. I might pull the first loop through red so it doesn't have these little lines at the bottom. So there's just a little tip on the next time that we do this. We'll just pull that loop out from the back, and I'll cut it nice and close. It should stay sewn closed. Like that. And there's our elf basically done. But we're going to get a little extra before we start on our gingerbread house, and we're going to add just a itty bit amount of hair. Now, not much. I just want to add like a fun little cute hairdo at the top, you know, like what's the elf from that Christmas movie? I can't remember what that elf's name is. Anybody remember that elf? We're going to thread this yellow yarn. Throw that on our needle. There we go. Yes, that was it, Cooper. I will say that out loud in just a second. I'm going to come out through the back somewhere. And then out through the top of the nose there. And then I'm just going to go, I'll just go a few stitches over like this. Actually, I might go all the way around, actually. Is that crazy? Will this look right if I go all the way around and then back in and double knot to this end? Will this look right? Let's find out. You know what? It's not bad. I think it might look better if it went just over the ears, though, and he didn't actually have hair on the back. Because you can tell it's just like a long strand of yarn on the back then. All right, so I'm going to undo that. We're going to redo this just a little bit. Oh, I don't know what happened there. There we go. We gotta do this again. Okay, let's try it again. In through the back, out through the nose. Jingle and Brother Jangle. I love that. Jingle. Jingle's a great name. In through, I'll go through this stitch here, and then we'll come back out through the nose. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit better. And then we'll go back around. And we might do this a few times, actually. And then into the same stitch. Let's do one more time for both sides to give it a little bit more thickness to the hair. That. I think that's going to be good. Like that, right? He's got definitely an elfy look to him. We'll go to that stitch, and then we're going to double it up one more time on the opposite side to finish our elf up. Yeah, I like that. And then in through this same stitch, out through where the tail end is, and then we can just double knot this yarn together. Call it. Poke his little feety out. I think that's pretty good, though. All right, let's double knot these two ends together, and then we will accept our new elf into the world. Yeah, go. And then Zoe, whenever you get a chance, could you please send me the a document or whatever if you are compiling a list of names? If you're not, that's whatever. We will figure it out. Okay. There we go. Let's look at our elf. Oh, I love him. That's cute. That's very cute. I like it. Our elf is done. Very tiny. Very cute. Very, very jingle jangly. Cool, thank you. All right, there's our elf. Now we can finally get started on the meat and potatoes of today's stream. Let's go ahead. We'll put the elf right here in the background. Sit, stay. Oh, we might have a problem with these pointy toes. They do tend to give our elf a bit of a... No, there we go. I fixed it. I fixed it. He just needed a little coaxing. All right, what's next? What's next, team? We are making our gnome home next. Yes, of course, of course, of course. He looks like, what is it, Herney? Herney from Santa Claus is Coming to Town? I love it. I don't know who that is, but I like it. All right, next up, we are making our gingerbread house. And here's a little reminder of how it looks. let's go ahead and pull up the Gnomehome pattern from my website. If you would like to crochet along with us, that is what we're using as our base. You can find it at clubcrochet.com/gnome. It's called a mushroom gnome home on the website. All right, and we're gonna start. Let's start with the house. So that means that we're gonna start with the bottom part and our jute and maybe a little bit of white. So that's gonna be this part right here. So that's gonna be this main part. Now here's what I'm thinking actually. I'm thinking we start in white and we do this bottom part in white. So it's got like a white bottom, which I think will look a little nicer, and then we'll change to jute. Sound like a plan? Cool. I'm glad you agree. I'm glad you definitely agree with me. All right, white yarn. Let's rock and roll. Hey, again, if you haven't yet liked this video, what are you doing? Why haven't you given this video a like yet? Double tap if you're on mobile. That'll do it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit the little bell icon so you don't miss new videos, all that stuff. And, oh wait, 1 second. I realized I need to restart my camera here because it did not delete the footage that I needed it to. So we need to make a little bit of space on this camera first. There we go. I don't know why it's not updating. One moment, please. One moment. I also need to pull up the name suggestions. There we go. All right. Yes, we need an elf name. That's true. You are right, Tina. Tina is correct about elf name suggestions. All right. We're going to be making our gnome home next. We have got a Google Doc with name suggestions. Nice. Ooh, okay. So we got our name suggestions so far, and I'm open to more name suggestions. We don't need to do the vote just yet for our elf name. But so far we've got Alfonso. Wait. Alfonso's Gingerbread House. That's what... Or Alfonsozo? I don't know. I like Alfonso, though. We've got Jingle and Jangle. We've got Hermie. I kind of like Hermie. We've got Pickles. Someone suggested Spark. And someone suggested Jasper. And someone suggested Gizmo. All great name suggestions. I'll wait for a few more names to come through before we vote on the name. In the meantime, let's get started on our gingerbread house. So I'm going to start with the house section itself, and we're going to start with our white yarn. We're going to do a magic loop right there. There we go. And for round 1 of our gingerbread house, I'm just going to start by single crocheting 8 times into the magic loop just to get us rocking and rolling. And I think I will use a stitch marker today just to make it a little bit easier. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. There we go. We'll go ahead. I'm just going to use this little end here of yellow yarn as our stitch marker, and then I'll just pull it nice and tight. Go. Nice. All right, we're going to fold this. Oh no, it came out. 1 second. There we go. Pull that tighter. And fold this over. And there's our stitch marker. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 1. We now have 8 single crochets into a magic loop. Let's move on to round 2. Oh, we can't forget about Slinky. Yes, of course, we need to add Slinky to our name suggestions. For round 2, we're just going to do an increase into each stitch around. Yeah. For round 2, we're just going to do an increase into each stitch around, which should bring us up from 8 to 12 stitches around. I'm going to work around our tail end here as we go. And like it says in the Gnomehome pattern, which is kind of the base of this pattern, if you want to work into the front loops only for the 1st and 5th increase of round 2, you can make it a little bit more easy to add the chimney later on. So maybe we should have done that. You know what, let's go ahead and do that because we are adding a chimney. So let's do that. Let me do that part again. Okay. For round 2, we're going to increase into each stitch around. For the first stitch, though, we're going to work only in that front loop. And that's because we want to leave that back loop open to attach our chimney later. There we go. And now we're going to do the next few stitches in both loops, but we're still working an increase in each stitch around. Now, you don't really have to do that front loop only thing. It's just going to make it a little bit easier later on when we add our chimney. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 increases, 4 increases here. Now our 5th increase, we also want to work into that front loop only to make that connection point for our chimney. So we'll just do that. And then for our last few stitches, just an increase into each stitch for the last 3 stitches around. So it's really just an increase in every stitch around, but the 1st and 5th increase are worked into that back loop only to create that connection point. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 2. Let's pull our stitch marker up and over. All right, and you should have 16 stitches. Now we're going to move on to round 3. And for round 3, I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the first and then increase into the second. And we're going to repeat that around 8 times around, which will bring us up from 16 to 24. So we're going to do 1 in the first stitch right here, and then an increase into the next stitch right here. 1 and 2. Yeah, okay. 1 single in the first, 1 increase into the next. Yeah, easy. That's not too crazy. Increase in the next. We're probably going to have to do something very similar to this when it comes to the to the top of our piece, but, well, you know, I'll hold off until we get to making the roof. I'm very curious of how this all comes together. All right. Okay, 1 more of these repeats. 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and there we go. We should have 24 stitches around. Pull our stitch marker up, and that'll be the end of round, what's that, round 3. Okay, for round 4 is where we're going to create our base that keeps our house standing upright. We're going to work a slip stitch, working in the front loops only of all the stitches around. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. We're going to go into this front loop only, the one closest to us right here, and I'm just going to do a slip stitch into all those stitches. This is going to create a little border for us to help us keep our gingerbread house standing up. And there should be 24 of these slip stitches, by the way. I really do like the name Alfonzozo. I do like that name too. And then I also like Enzo as well, actually. Have we already made an Alfonso? It sounds familiar. It does kind of sound familiar, huh? I mean, I won't lie, this isn't the first, that wasn't the first elf we've made on this live stream, but it was the first tiny elf we've made. Prior, we've made big elves like this guy. He might be named Alfonso, for all I know. I am bad with names in general, but I'm especially bad with, well, actually, I'm actually usually pretty good with the names of my critters and creatures that I crochet. Alright, so that's going to be all of our slip stitches around to create our little base and our border there. I'm going to cut the yarn, I believe, right? Yeah, cut the yarn. And then we're going to pull that through. Let's hide this end into the next stitch. So I'm going to go into this next stitch here. We'll thread our tail end. We'll pull that through. and then through the top there. And then I'm just going to hide this end on the inside of some stitches just to make sure everything stays in place. And then we want to kind of like mimic the look of those slip stitches around, so you can't, it's hard to tell where the beginning and ends of the rounds go. All right, so that's going to be our base. And I'm going to cut our tail ends as well, since we don't really need them at all. Actually, you know what? We're going to leave this tail end because I think we will need this for our chimney to sew onto our chimney. So we'll leave this other tail end for now. Okay, next up, we're on to round 5. And now we want to pull through with our beige yarn. Where's our beige yarn? Ah, there it is. Or jute, I should say. So I say the same thing each time. I think our music ended. Let's get another round of tunes going. Okay. All right. We're going to pull a loop through. We're going to make a little loop of our beige yarn here. I'm going to pull it through the end of our first unused back loop only from round 3. And I'm going to count backwards actually just to make sure we get into the first one because there was 24 around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just to keep track of where I'm at. It's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so this is our 24th stitch. And I'm going to go into that first unused back loop, take our little yarn here, pull that loop through that unused back loop, and we'll create a chain like that. And then now for this round, for round 5 here, we're going to start in the same stitch we just pulled through, and we're going to work into each unused back loop only around. We're going to do 5 single crochets and then 1 increase 4 times, repeating that 4 times around. So that's our stitch count here. So 1 single crochet into this first one, and then keep doing that around. So 2 into the next one, our 3rd single crochet into the 3rd one, and I think we'll do a couple more stitches, 4th and 5th. So we'll do our first 5 stitches worked around this tail end, and then I can just cut that nice and close. We don't need that. Get out of town. All right, now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase right here. So 2 in the same stitch, and then we'll repeat that 4 times around. So 5 and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then our increase right here. 1 and 2. All right, and I think that's going to bring our stitch count up 4 stitches. So we should go from 24 to 28, I believe, by the end of this round. 3, 4, 5, and then our increase. Okay, last repeat here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then our increase right here. 1 and 2. We'll keep our stitch marker on the outside there, but that's going to be the end of round 5. See it coming together? Okay, now before we continue on to round 6, we're going to be doing like 6 rounds of single crochets essentially. But our next round, we do want to add gumdrop little, I want to add 2 gumdrop like planters. I think that'd be a good idea. Love the name Zach Elfron from P. Great name suggestion from the chat. And we need coffee before we get going. All right, let me look at our name suggestions for our elves. Zoe has a very this is not going to be one of the name suggestions, but I just wanted to say, so Zoe sometimes puts like fun messages in these, and they said that their name suggestion is the happy man from Happy Land who lives in a gumdrop house on a lollipop lane. Love that. All right, I'll wait for a few more name suggestions just so we can get more in there. Okay, now we're on to... Oops, wrong one. There we go. Okay. I want to make a gumdrops here, and our gumdrops are going to have to be in a variety of colors, so we should get these prepared. I definitely want cyan for gumdrops. That just feels right. So does orange. Green kind of feels right. Yellow feels right. Red feels right. Pink. Pink would be perfect. Where's pink? Pink. Okay. And then red. So I'm thinking for our, because red is going to be used, I think we save red for two places. Red should be used in the top for sure as like a little cherry. And the candy cane stuff. So because there's going to be a lot of red already, let's kind of try to not put too much red into the gumdrops. So there's our first thing. Good. That covers that. So we'll throw red to the side for right now. For the gumdrops though, I mean, cyan is like a necessity, I think. So should be blue actually. Blue would be really nice also. But we can't use them too close together to each other. What is the most, chat, what is the most gumdrop colors? Most gumdrop colors, go. Oh, what about purple? Would purple be good? Or is that, does that feel gumdroppy? Green gumdrop, says Kaylin. Maybe like a teal? Or do you feel like green? I don't know why, I just don't feel green for gumdrops. I'm starting to feel teal. For our little gumdrops. At the very least at the bottom of the door. Okay, I'm trying to imagine because they're going to be next to these candy cane, what's it called? Things that hold up a house. Supports. Yellow. Brush says yellow. I think yellow actually is right. I think yellow and pink, yeah. Let's do yellow pink. I like that idea. Yellow pink, and I think yellow and pink will go well next to the brown of the door, next to the red and white of the candy canes. I like that. Okay, so we're gonna go with pink and yellow for the door gumdrops. The other gumdrops will all be on the top, and we'll go freaking crazy with it. We're gonna go wild with it. Wow. Okay. This is how I normally talk. Did you know? I put on a different voice just for the live streams. But in real life, Louie talks like this. That's not true. That's not even probably true. Okay, next round. We're on round 6. Now round 6 normally is just a single crochet into every stitch around, but we're going to use half color chain. Well, we don't even need half color chains. We're going to use mini bobble stitches in stitches 11 and 19 of this round to add our little gumdrops. So stitches 11 and 19 are going to be gumdrops. We're going to start by just doing single crochets though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, K Miriam. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this is going to be 10. But before I finish 10, we're going to grab our pink yarn and place that in between. And then we're going to do our gumdrop. It's just going to be a mini bobble stitch in the next stitch. If you want to learn more about bobble stitches, check out the video tutorial I made at clubcrochet.com/bobble. But we're not going to go into too much detail there. Okay, so there's our mini bobble. Switch over to our beige, and we're going to pull that through with beige. And there's our first gumdrop door frame, or, you know, door thingy. I think 1 stitch is enough to keep that pink in place. And then our next one's going to be in stitch 19. So that's so it's 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, 16, 17. This will be 18. Let's grab our yellow yarn here to make our next gumdrop, or work around it for our 18th stitch. And then we'll do another mini bobble here. Oops. Like that. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Nice. Yeah, that's a good, I think this is a good start. And we'll do 1 single crochet into the next stitch to lock that yellow yarn in place. Throw that to the side, and then we'll finish this round up with just single crochets. And then we've actually got a little bit of a break now. It's going to be all single crochets for another few rounds. So let's go ahead and finish these last 2 stitches up. 1 and 2. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 6. Let's take a gander. Looks pretty good, right? You can see those gumdrops starting to form. Right? We liking it? I like it. And I like that we did the base in white too. Kind of adds just a little bit of something to it. Now a couple things I want to think about before I continue on in our rounds of increasing here is I know I want to add like a layer of like frosting during the house section at the top, and I just don't really know where I want to add it. Oh, okay. I think I want to add it right here, right before, well, I guess, you know, actually the drippy edge is going to probably cover up any kind of color we do. You know what? We probably won't do it actually, because the drippy edge is probably going to cover it up, and we're going to have that window. Yeah, you know what? Never mind. Forget what I said. Forget it. I don't like it. I think we'll keep it just beige for the body. Just to keep everything more simplified, since we're going to be adding a lot of pieces onto it. Okay, so now we have rounds 7 through 11. That's 5 more rounds of just single crochets. So let's just hang out and make some single crochets. Oh, thank you, Cooper, for posting a link to the bobble stitch. Appreciate ya. Appreciate ya. Oh my gosh, Cooper's on both chats doing that too. You rock, dude. You guys are so... Another shout out to our moderators today. Big shout outs to Cooper and Zoe. You guys rock. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the help. I really appreciate you. Cool. I'm glad you agree about the frosting part too. I just think we should avoid getting it too busy to give us more opportunities for adding details later. I'm also trying to wonder what we could do for the door, like the handle of the door. Normally I do a button. Oh, what if we use like a bead? A bead could be really good for the door handle actually. Because that way it could be like, my thought was I want something that's different. You know what I mean? I want something that's like different than crochet, so it looks like a tactile difference. But I didn't want it to be too like out there. So I thought a button wouldn't really work because like everything about this is candy themed, but then a button, like where does a button come in? But I feel like a bead kind of looks like a nerd or candy, you know, of some kind. You do great all the time, Zoe. You're a 10 out of 10, dude. You should appreciate yourself because we all appreciate you. Lollipop. Ooh, what if we did a lollipop for the... We could do a lollipop for like for the chimney at the top or something. Because I was thinking it might be fun to add a chimney later on. But I don't really know. Like, my first original thought was doing a swirled, you know, those chocolate cookie things. They kind of look like cigars, and they're kind of like twirled. I was thinking that one of those for the top for a chimney would be really cute. We don't need to add a chimney, but I do think a chimney would be fun. And a lollipop could be a good alternative. I think it could be a good alternative there. Okay. So we want all the way up to round 11 with this, I think. So that's rounds, that was 6, 7, 8. We're on round 9. So we only got 2.5 rounds left of height of our gnome home here. And as you can tell, I'm just kind of like powering through. You're seeing speedrun Louie here. Speedrun. Ready, start. Oh, I think that's what they're called. Pirouette cookies? I'm not really sure. Oh, hey, I wanted to let you guys know. I was interviewed. Actually, there was 2 interviews of me that just came out. Well, one just came out. The other one is coming out this weekend. The first one was on, I was interviewed live on Spoony Stitcher. She is another YouTuber. Go check her out. And she interviewed me live on Wednesday. I did a big interview live. I actually did reveal a few things in that live stream too that I don't think I've ever really talked about on these live streams. So if you want to learn about some secret things that are coming out soon, you might want to check out that live stream. And that live stream interview. You can check it out on Spoony Stitcher's channel. If you do go check it out, make sure to comment down below and let her know that I sent you. She actually has an annual pass of our memberships, which is actually not an offering we really have anymore, but it was basically an offering that gave you 4 seasonal kits and a special bonus gift. And so she had some questions about the bonus gift, which ended up leading to some reveals of some future plans that I have for 2026. So you might like it if you're a fan of this channel. You can post a link if you'd like to, Cooper. And then the other one that we got, that we were interviewed on, I say we, like I'm talking about us in the third person. It was me. The other one that I got interviewed on was actually a French podcast called Crochet au Vous, A-U-V-O-U-S. It is in French. I do not speak in French in it. They did a voiceover of me for French. And I believe it's also in English, maybe. But that was a really fun one. And that's a podcast that we got interviewed on this last week. And I talk all about Club Crochet's beginnings and plans for Club Crochet and suggestions. If you're a crocheter out there and you wanted to start your own channel, I have suggestions and thoughts in that podcast. So it's kind of a cool one. It might be a little weird because it's going to be translated, but I have no idea, to be completely honest. So we are going to find out together this weekend and hope that I didn't make too much of a fool of myself on those interviews. Yes, that is exactly what it is, Michelle. Michelle is in the chat. Hello, Michelle. Michelle is one of the longest supporters of Club Crochet, so super shout out to Michelle. And yes, it is about the long-awaited book. There is some details there, and I'm going to reveal more details about that in the new year, by the way. So keep a lookout in the new year. We're going to be talking a lot about some big projects next year. In January, I'm going to need a lot of help from the community. If you are interested in helping out, I will have some things, some patterns to test, some games to test. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that was our 11th round, I believe. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. Okay. So there's going to be our height of our gumdrop house. And now we can continue on to round 12, where we're going to start to decrease it down just a little bit. So for round 12, I'm going to do 5 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets, and then our invisible decrease. And then we'll repeat that same process 4 times around. So this should bring us back down to 24 stitches by the end of round 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then invisible decrease, like that. You are a little sweetie pea. You're a sweetie pea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then invisible decrease. Thank you, Peace of Mind. That was really sweet of you. I got some fan mail yesterday or today. So I posted that angel pattern on Reddit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then invisible decrease. You know what? Let me talk to you about it in just a moment. All right, so that's going to be the end of round 12 for 24 stitches around. You can see it's really starting to come together. And now for round 13, we just have a round of single crochets. So this is just going to be all single crochets all the time. So that's just 24 stitches around. So I posted that angel on Reddit, and if you want that angel pattern for free, by the way, go to my subreddit, that's reddit.com/r/LouisLoops, and check out the most recent post. If you comment on the most recent post with fa la 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 la, I will send you the new angel pattern for free. I just thought it was like kind of a fun thing. But anyhow, someone did that. And so I sent them the pattern, and they went, "Oh my gosh, I just realized who you are. You're Louis. You're Louis Loops. You taught me how to crochet." And they left me the longest message, and it was just so sweet and so nice, and it made my day. So shout out there. I don't know what your name is, but thank you for that message. It really meant a lot to me. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 13. Now we're on to round 14. And for round 14, we're just going to slip stitch into each stitch around. This is going to start to create our border along the top here. So we'll just start slip stitching all the way around. Should still be 24 stitches around. Not too crazy. And slip stitches are pretty easy too, so this round should just be a breeze. It should just be a breeze. I hope Christmas is going well for you. I don't know if you have finished all of your Christmas gifts this year, but I know I have not, and I have a lot more work to do. I still need to figure out what the heck I'm gonna make for my mom and my dad. I got works to do. I got lots of crocheting to make. All right, so that's gonna be the end of round 14 of all of our slip stitches around. That's going to be the last round of our house part of our pattern. We're going to be doing another round of slip stitches all the way around, but this time we're going to work only into the front loops, so the loops closest to you. This is a little bit hard to do in this round, but it's going to be right there, right like that. We're going to go into that front loop. And the reason we want to do that is this is going to create a lip at the top, which will help hold on the roof. So we're just going to go into that front loop only and do a slip stitch all the way around. Pretty easy. But yes, I need to figure out some Christmas gifts still. And I still need to write some letters to Santa. Do you think Santa still gets letters? Maybe I should just email him. It's just Santa@gmail.com? Is that Santa? My gosh, if Google doesn't already do this, this would be really funny if they had like an AI Santa that you could email. Now, I don't like that idea, but I kind of do like that idea. That might be kind of fun. I don't know. What do you think? Is that too weird? Maybe that's a little weird. Dude, you're so sweet. I agree though, this is one of the best communities on the internet. We should have gotten nominated for a Yarny, but I forgot to tell everybody to nominate me for a Yarny. So instead, it was a more popularity contest, and I should have asked people, but I didn't, because I always feel awkward asking people to nominate me for things. But oh well, next year maybe. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 15 there. And we can cut the yarn, and we'll just hide this end. Pull the loop out. We're going to hide this end into the next stitch over, which is going to be right there. Like that. Oopsies. Just doing a simple hidden end is all I'm looking for here. Pull it through that next stitch from the back of it, and then in through the same stitch, and then into the back of some stitches on the inside, like there we go, like that. Cut the yarn nice and close, and then we'll pull out our stitch marker as well. There we go. And there is the main part of our house done. Now here's the question. Do we move on to the roof next? I think we should probably move on to the roof, huh? And then we can do like the chimney and stuff afterwards. Yeah, I think so. Hello, that's a little guy. Hello, welcome to the chat. Oh, you've already been in the chat, but hello again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw this to the side for a second. We're going to come back to that in just a moment. Now we can start working on our roof. Hooves on the roofs. And for our roof, we are going to do it in white. And here is the plan. Okay, so let's look at this again. Here is the plan for the roof. I'm going to essentially do this for our roof, like a basically like simple, just, you know, rounded roof. But we're going to do gumdrops into, I believe, into this round here. So I think that's going to be round, let me look at the pattern really quick. Yeah, we're going to do gumdrops into round 6. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is round 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to do gumdrops into round 6. Maybe gumdrops into round 5. No, we'll probably do 6, 4, and 2. We'll do gumdrops into those rounds. So that way they're kind of like separated by a round of normal stitches. That way we have like some gumdrops, but we're not like overdoing it with gumdrops. That's what I'm worried about. I don't want to like, oh my gosh, that's far too many gumdrops, my friend. Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing? What are sugar plums? Chat, what's a sugar plum? Let me know. I need to know. What's a sugar plum? All right. So we're going to do rounds 1 like normal. 2, we're going to do, I think we'll do 6. Probably. No, you know, we'll probably do 3. Yeah, I think we'll do 3 into round 2. And then into round 3, we'll do none. And then into round 4, we'll probably do 6. And then maybe we'll do another like 10 or so into round 6. I don't know. We're going to find out together. I don't really know exactly how I'm going to do these gumdrops, but I do know that we're going to do gumdrops, and I know that I want to do these gumdrops in multiple different colors, so we should probably get that prepared as well. So we obviously want to do our pink and our yellow. We want to do our cyan, I think would be nice. Blue would be good. Purple would be good, and orange would be good. That's a lot of colors to work with, but I think that's good because we essentially have like 3 cool colors and then 3 warm colors, which is I think going to be nice to like kind of separate the two you know, we'll go like we'll go cool color, warm color, cool color, warm color, and just kind of like split, like separate those as we go. All right, let's get going. Okay, so for the roof, we're going to start with a magic loop, and this is all going to be in white for the roof. Let's start here with a magic loop. And we'll start by doing 6 single crochets into the magic loop for our first round of our roof. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, pull that tighter. All right, for round 2, we're going to do essentially an increase into each stitch, but we want to replace some of the single crochets in these increases to our gumdrops. So I think what we're going to do is probably do an increase, like one normal increase, and then our second increase is going to be a gumdrop single crochet, and then a regular increase, then a gumdrop single crochet, then regular increase, gumdrop single crochet. So we're going to start with just a regular increase into our first stitch here, and I will work around my tail end as I go. And we're going to do our normal first stitch like normal. Before we finish that second stitch though, let's start with a purple. And all of these gumdrops, I want to pull a loop through with white ahead of that. And then the gumdrop is going to be worked in the main color. We're going to do a, into our next stitch here, right there. We're going to do both a mini bobble stitch and a single crochet into that same stitch. The mini bobble stitch is going to be made in our color, and then the single crochet is just going to be made in our white. So let's start right there. Mini bobble in our colorful stitch first. 1 and 2 and 3, like that. And then we're going to switch over to our white yarn and pull it through with white. And then we're going to do another single crochet into the same exact stitch we just worked into, like this, like that. There's our first gumdrop made. And that's basically what we're going to be doing throughout this. After making the gumdrop and single crocheting around our tail end, we can cut it close, by the way. All right, so there's our first one. We want to repeat that 3 times around, so let's do our second repeat. 1 increase as normal, and then we're going to move on to a warm color. Let's do orange. And we're going to do our next gumdrop in orange. So half, or a mini bobble using our orange yarn. 1, 2, and 3. That is tighter. And then switch over to our white. And then another single crochet in the same stitch of white. Alright, so there's our second gumdrop. And then we cut our yarn. And then we'll do an increase in the next stitch. Alright, last stitch right here. We're going to do another cool stitch. Let's do a cyan. And we're going to do one last gumdrop for our second round of our roof here. There's 1, 2, and then 3. Like that. Nice. Okay. And then we'll do one more single crochet to lock that color in place. And there is our round 2 of our roof. You know what I like about these gumdrops is they're kind of pulling our roof in a little bit more to make it a little tiny bit more pointed. Just a bit. Which is kind of nice. Okay. All right, round 3 of our roof. Let's pull this tighter to close up that middle a bit. For round 3, it's just going to be all in white for round 3, and we're going to do a single crochet in the first and then an increase in the next, and then I'll just repeat that all the way around. So that way round 3 here is relatively like quote-unquote normal. We are working into mini bobble stitches and stuff, so it's not that normal, but it's normal-ish. It's normal-ish, kind of like me. Normal-ish, kind of like me. Okay, fine, I'm not very normal. Weirdish. Weirdish, kind of like me. Alright, one there, and then an increase here. And then one more of those repeats, one single crochet in the first. There we go. And then increase into the next right here. Okay, so that's going to be round 3 done. Now round 4, we want to do more of our... we definitely want to do more of our gumdrops, but we want to separate them out a little bit more. So the first thing is, I kind of want more gumdrops in round 3, right? We want to kind of double this up. So I kind of want to do one right there. So one here, one here, one here, one here, one there, and one there. So that way there's 6 gumdrops, and they all kind of like work around our last gumdrops so that they kind of pace out pretty easily. So that would mean that I'd want a gumdrop. Let's see. We just need to like math this out a little bit. Probably this very last stitch will be 1. So there's 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, boo. So it looks like maybe we can do 1, 2, gumdrop, 1, 2, gumdrop, and 1, 2. So I think we can do that. We can do basically 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then gumdrop. Oh wait, but there's an increase. I gotta remember the increases too. Yeah, I think I need to remember the increases too. Konnichiwa, hajimemashite. All right. That's to our live stream chat, because there is someone speaking in Japanese in our live stream chat. Nihongo ga hanasemasu. Skoshi. All right. We are going to increase in this round too, though. This round's going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase. Repeated all the way around. So 1, 2, increase. That'll be our, with our little, with our gumdrop. So increase, 1, 2, increase with our gumdrop, 1, 2, increase with our gumdrop, increase, increase, increase. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So this repeat, actually this will be a little bit more simple. I thought it was gonna get complicated, but you know what? I think we can make it pretty easy. We're gonna do 2 single crochets as normal in white, and then an increase after that. But our increase is gonna be, the first stitch is gonna be our mini bobble, gumdrop, and then a second one is going to be regular single crochet, just like how we did in round 2. So let's do that again. Let's do that. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets as normal. Before we finish that second single crochet, we want to get some yarn in a warm color, and we're going to do our first stitch of our increase in a mini bobble in pink. 1, 2, 3, and then a single crochet into the same stitch to make it an increase, like that. Nice. Oh man, and that's totally gonna, that's great. That should even us out pretty good too. And then after working our single crochet, we can cut our yarn so it's away from us. And then we're just gonna repeat that all the way around. 6 repeats total. 1, 2. In this stitch, let's do it yellow. Yeah, we'll do yellow here. And we probably are going to want green into these as well. So we'll get green after this. 1, 2. Actually, we'll do cyan next, and then we'll do green. So 3. Actually, maybe we do blue next. Well, let's find out. And then it's single crochet in the same stitch. And this should, by the way, bring our stitch count up to 24 stitches around, if you're counting. And then we'll do this again. 1 and 2 is going to be here. And then I think blue. I think we should do blue here. And then maybe green over here. Oh, or cyan, green, blue. I guess we could just get red. We could start involving red here. Let's do cyan here because it's kind of far away from this cyan. And that's what I'm trying to think right now is like, how do I keep my stitches, how do I keep my colors separated more? But we haven't added a blue yet. No, let's do blue. I changed my mind. We're going to do blue. How do I know Japanese? I studied it for 4 years in high school, which was not very successful. I learned how to read it very well, but I didn't really know what I was saying. And then a few years ago, like 4 years ago, I started studying it again because Jules and I were going on trips to Japan. We went for our, for New Year's in 2019, I believe. And we've been, I've gone 3 times now. I actually went in August with my brother. And I don't know, I just studied it. I also studied French for a long time. I want to start studying Spanish next. I like languages. When I was in college, I majored in anthropology, but I really wanted to major in anthropology of language. That's linguistic anthropology. That was my goal, but it just didn't work out that way. Green, yellow, green first, yellow here. No, green, something, and then yellow. Green, purple? Yeah, let's do green, purple, yellow. Let's do that. All right, where's our green? There it is. Where's my kitty cat? They are in the other room, screaming probably. He do like to be yelling. He's a happy boy, or angry. I don't know. He's a boy. Tis a loud boy. All right. Green in this first one. One, 2, 3, and then another increase in the same stitch. Like that. Yeah, that looks good. I like the green. I think the green's a good addition. It looks a little bit weird maybe for a gumdrop, but it's not that weird. And then I think we should do yellow for our next one here, because it's far enough away from yellow. Yeah, I think we do yellow here. It's gonna look like a mess on the inside of this, but you can only do so much. I mean, I could like sew in like a little piece of felt or something to keep the inside a little cleaner, but I'm a lazy boy. I don't really want to do that, so I'm not gonna. Here's our yellow with a single crochet in the same stitch. It's looking good. Cut the yellow now. It is a fun study, completely not useful for getting a job, but it is a great study. I did enjoy anthropology. All right, last stitch is going to be right here, our last bobble. And for our last bobble, red? Maybe we get some red involved. I don't know. I kind of like that we're not using red other than the candy cane stuff, though. Let's see. What other colors can we use here? Do I have any other like bright, like, we could do teal. How would teal look? Is that too weird? That's actually not. I don't think that's that weird, right? Yeah, let's do teal. That way it's a new color and it won't get in the way of our other colors. Or maybe we should use teal over here. No, because we can use orange. And then maybe like a cyan. Yeah, we'll do green. I mean, we'll do teal rather for our last color of this round. 1, 2, and 3. It's a little dark, but that's okay. I think this will work. Like that. Nice. Okay, so that'll be the end of that round. The teal short. And then next round, so that was round 4. Round 5, we're just doing in all white for this round. And for this round, it's going to be 7 single crochets and then an increase 3 times around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's kind of a hard 7th stitch. That's all right though. And then an increase right here. 8 and 9 in the same stitch. And then we're going to repeat that 3 times total. You think I should do dark green instead of this teal? Well, too late. I can use dark green in the later round though. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, and then our increase. And this should bring us up, if I didn't already say this, this should bring us up from 24 stitches to 27 stitches around. 3, 4, and 5, 6. Wait, did I mess up somewhere? Hold on. Why are we off count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, we're not off count. I'm just a doofus. 6 and 7. And this will be our last increase for this round, which will finish up round 5. All right, so for our next round, we're going to be adding our gumdrops again. So we need to plan out where gumdrops are going to be. But in addition to that, if you wanted to add your straps, so again, if you wanted to make yours like this, so it had like long straps that you could create like a hanging part for it, all you need to do is you would want to, wait, it is this round, right? That has the straps? Yeah, wait, I forget what stitches it is though. Hold on, I realized that I need the PDF. I'll just download it real quick. Because I can't remember what stitches exactly you'd want to create chains in. It's loading, one moment. Let's look at our name suggestions for our elf too. Okay, we haven't really gotten many new name suggestions, so maybe we go ahead and get a vote going for the name. So let me write down my 4 favorite names here. Okay. Hold on. I like that one. I like... I like them all though. And the last one we're gonna go with. Okay. All right, we got our name suggestions, and we're gonna put this in a poll. And we're gonna put this in a poll on the mobile. We're gonna put it on both. Name our elf. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Oh, I gotta do over here. Sorry. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so name suggestions are in. We are trying to name our elf now, and the name suggestions we have so far are Slinky, Alfonso, Gizmo, and Hermie. We are voting on both live stream chats at the same time, by the way. So if you want to join one live stream or the other live stream, you can vote on either one, and we're gonna tally our most. It looks like we have a lot. Well, we'll see. We'll see what wins. Okay, let's keep on keeping on. All right, so we're making our next round. We just finished round. I think we just finished round 5, so we're on round 6. And if you wanted to add your stripe, for round 6, we're doing a single crochet. We're single crocheting 8, and then we're increasing once, repeating that 3 times around to get up to 30 stitches. But we're going to be adding our gumdrops in that round, so that's going to be a little bit different than that. But that's going to be the base of it. We're just going to replace some of those single crochets with mini bobble stitches for our gumdrops. And then, in addition to that, if you wanted to add your straps to make it more like this, instead of it being like closed like this, which is how this is the way we're making it. But if you wanted to make it with your straps, all you need to do is you replace stitches 13 and 28 in this round with a chain 1 and skip a stitch. And that's going to create little holes that you can work into for the straps. If you want more information on that, I suggest checking out our original Gnomehome pattern. It'll probably go into a little bit more detail for how to do that. Because I'm not going to be adding our straps in this piece. So just wanted to give you that heads up. Okay, so we're doing 8 single crochets and then an increase repeated 3 times around. So that's going to be, and we want to add our gumdrops. So where are our gumdrops? 8 single crochets, 1 increase. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then an increase right here. Boom, boom, and then 1, 2, boom. Okay, I think we're gonna do every 2 stitches, because then it'll be like here. This is my thought. Yeah, I agree. The horizontal chat has more is more active, but the vertical stream has more viewers. That is true. That's why we throw it on. I threw it into both. Okay, so I think what we can do is do 1, 2 stitches, then our gumdrop, 1, 2, gumdrop. 1, 2, gumdrop, 1, 2, gumdrop. Because that'll make 1 gumdrop right in between the 2, and then 1 gumdrop like essentially right under the 2, like close to under it. 1, 2, gumdrop, gumdrop, 1, 2, gumdrop. Okay, so this round is going to be, I mean, if you want to just make it regular, it's 8 single crochets and then an increase. But for our gumdrops edition, we're going to do 2 single crochets, mini bobble, 2 single crochets, mini bobble, 2 single crochets, mini bobble, and single crochet into the same stitch to make it an increase. And then we're going to repeat that 3 times around to get to the end of the round. And it should bring our stitch count up from 27, which is our current stitch count, up to 30 stitches around. I did it. I said it though. I said it. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. And then we need to figure out what colors we want to use for our gumdrops, of course. Okay. So let's get going. We're going to start with 2 single crochets as regular. 1 and 2. And then we want our first gumdrop here. And we're going to do our first one in orange because it's pretty much the furthest color away from our previous color. Oops. Here we go. So 2, and then 1 gumdrop here. 1, 2, and oops, messed that one up. 3. That a little tighter. Change colors. All right, and then we got 1 single crochet in the next. Okay, so there's 2, and then a gumdrop, and then 2, 1, and 2, and then we want another gumdrop. Our next one, let's do it in what color is far away? Let's do it. Let's do that dark green. That. Oh no, wait. Let's do cyan. No, let's do dark green, and then we'll do cyan over here. Yeah, let's do that. So we're gonna go dark green per Zoe's request. Represent. All right. This, and then a gumdrop. It's gonna be fun to figure out all the customizations after this round, by the way. There we go. 1 there, and then 2, and then we want to do our gumdrop in the next one, but we want there to be okay, our next stitch is going to be an increase and a gumdrop together, but we want a color that's far away from the other colors. Cyan, that's right, cyan. It's kind of close to the blue, but that's okay, because then we can do cyan here and then pink over for the next one. That's going to be right next to the blue. So we'll do cyan here. And this one's going to be an increase and a mini bobble in the same stitch, by the way. So we're doing a mini bobble first. And then we're going to do another single crochet in the same stitch as that mini bobble to make it an increase. There we go. All right. And there's our first repeat of 3. We want to repeat that same process of adding those gumdrops and stuff for this next round. Okay, so 1, 2 here, pink for our next gumdrop. There. 1, 2, and 3. Ah. Nice. That a little tighter. Switch over. And then single crochet in the next one. Right, 1. Cut our pink. And then purple maybe is not good because it's, well, let's do yellow and then purple over here. Yeah, we'll do yellow, purple, and then maybe blue over there. Okay, so yellow's next. 1, 2, oopsies. I was supposed to be ready for a color change there. Yellow here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then the next stitch is going to be in purple, I believe. So this one's purple, and then blue, and maybe pink again? I don't know. I'm not sure about for the last one here, but let's do purple for this one because it's farther away from the original purple. 1, 2, 3. And then this one's an increase, so we do it in the same stitch for our last single crochet there. There's our second repeat. We got one more of these repeats to add our last bit of gumdrops here. We'll go 1 and 2 there. And then what color do we want on this next one? What color is furthest away here? We can do orange is kind of far. Blue? Blue would be good. But then we have, I think blue probably should be over here so it's further away. I think we should do orange. Orange, blue, maybe pink or green. Yeah, orange, blue, and then we'll do a lime green right there. That's what we're gonna do. Orange, blue, lime green. Orange, you glad? I didn't say cyan. Orange first. 1, 2. Oops. 2 and 3. Okay. Oops, that needs to be blue. Okay. Look at that mess. I don't know what we're gonna do about the mess on the inside. I think the elf just might need to live with a messy home. I feel like elves, that's pretty normal for elves. I can't imagine an elf is extremely organized. Well, actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. What do you guys think? What does the chat think? Are elves messy or are elves organized? Well, I feel like that's a blanket statement. But they're probably different. Okay, so we wanted orange, and then was it pink at the end? Because we have our last one right here. Yeah, I think it is pink. We'll do pink to finish this up. Cherry is bad. Raspberry is good. I agree. I agree with raspberry is good. I think cherry is okay. I wouldn't say cherry is a bad flavor for red, but strawberry is obviously going to be the best flavor of red. 1, 2, 3. Change over. And this is going to be our last single crochet worked in the same stitch to make that an increase. And that's going to be the end of our gumdrops. And the end of round 6 there. And now we have our gumdrop roof, so you can see what it looks like. Hey, guys, that's looking kind of great, though. Wow. It looks wild. But I feel like every gingerbread house is going to look a little wild. It definitely needs some... We for sure need more red in this. But don't worry, we're going to get there. All right, so let's finish up this roof, though. We have a few more rounds left to go. The first round is round 7 here. For round 7, we're going to work into the front loops only. And I'm just going to single crochet into every stitch around, but worked only in those front loops. And this is going to be how we make our little border here. So we're going to start with single crochets, then we're going to connect together. And don't forget, you want to work only in that front loop, the loop closest to you, and leave that back loop unused because we're going to use it in the next round. Ooh, watermelon candies. I feel like watermelon's pink. Watermelon has always been like the pink tastes like watermelon. I guess sometimes it tastes like strawberry. What is the pink flavor in Starburst? Like, what would you say that flavor is? Because that's probably my favorite, is the pink Starbursts. For me, for Starburst, it goes pink, then red, then yellow, then orange. Is there another color of Starburst that I'm not thinking about? I don't think so. Yellow, red. I don't think so. Not in the main colors, right? Or am I missing one? Maybe I am missing one. I don't know. Watermelon is one of the best candy flavors. I definitely agree with that. Watermelon and strawberry, I would say, are the best. Raspberry lemonade, that's what you think pink is in Starburst? Actually, that sounds pretty good. That actually sounds right to me. I feel like Starburst should have a blue color. Blue flavor. Gosh, blue is such a good flavor. I don't know what that flavor is, but I do like me some blue. Let me pull that end a little tighter. Alright, so we're working into the front loops only. We're almost done with this round. Just a couple more stitches here, and we will finish up round 7. Alright, that's going to be the end of round 7. Get our piece around. That looks pretty good. Okay, round 8, we're going to be working into... Oh, actually, round 8, we're going to do just a single crochet into every stitch around. So round 8 is just a simple round of just single crochets. You don't need to work into the back loop or front loop or anything like that. You just need to work into both loops and do a single crochet all the way around. This is basically creating like a nice border. And then in our next round, we're going to work into those unused front loops as well. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. Just a nice round of single crochets. Blue raspberry is a blue. Yeah, I know. Blue raspberry is not a flavor, but I love it. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Cooper. And I think I would go to battle with you. If anybody thinks that pink is not the best Starburst flavor, come at me and Cooper. We will disagree with with violence. Chocolate door. Don't forget about the chocolate door. I will not forget about the chocolate door. Thank you for reminding me, though. But I promise I will not forget about it. Okay. This is going to be our last stitch for our single crochet round. There we go. Nice. Now we are on to round 9. And round 9, we're going to work into both loops and the unused back loops only from round 6. And we're going to slip stitch into each stitch around. So that means that we're going to work into both these loops, and at the same time as we work into both of these loops, let me get a little closer here to the camera for you. So at the same time we're working both of these loops, we're also going to be working into those unused back loops from all the way up. See right where that pink is? All the way up here. So we're going to use these stitches at the same time as we work into back loops. So we're going to both loops and this one in the back like that. And we're going to do a slip stitch into all those stitches around. And it's going to close that in and create like this nice little edge of the top of the hat. Yeah, peaceful protest. We'll just end the live stream. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so we're going to go into this next stitch here and into the unused back loop only that lines up with it. That's going to be all the way right there. And then we're going to yarn over, pull through that, and through the loop on the hook, like that. And we're just going to do that for every one of these stitches. And it's going to close this border in and create this nice, like, what's it called? What's the edge of a roof called? There's a word for it. You hang your lights on the edge of the... I don't know. Someone in the chat that does words gooder than me does. Well, we're just gonna keep stitching down it. And there's gonna be there should be 30 stitches for this round, by the way, as well. You see how it's like kind of creating this like border? And then we're also going to create a drippy edge to this as well. So that's my goal here. Hello for the first time from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Tammy. What are we making? Currently we are making a gingerbread house that's got the, look at this portal into the nether realm of yarn. We are making a gingerbread house that is based off of our gnome home, which is a pattern that I came out with earlier this year. But we're customizing it to make it into a gingerbread house instead. I have a plan. Okay, so I'm hopeful that I'm going to do one more live stream before the end of the year. And for our last live stream this year, I think what I'm going to do is a tier list of all the things that we crocheted in live streams this year. That's my idea. I thought that'd be kind of fun. Chat, what do you think? I think it'd be a fun thing to do. We'll just go through and we'll be like, okay, and we made this one. This is a B tier. That was my thought. But to do that, actually, I'm gonna need Cooper and Zoe's help probably of compiling a list of the names of all the things that we made this year, so that I can easily, more easily reference them during the live stream. I'll message you both about it after the stream, though. Well, after I take a long nap after the stream. That's usually what I do. There we go. Okay, there's a few more here. These last few are going to be really hard to get into, so I'm going to kind of open it up a little bit to find those front loops. And the last one's going to be right here. And there we go. All right, so that's going to end round 9 up. Pull that out like this. And let's get all of our gumdrops out. Now, technically, this is the end of our roof part, but I'm going to add that drippy edge, so it is going to be different. But this is going to go on our piece like that, and then you can kind of see what we got there. But we're going to be adding just this little bitty like frill to the bottom of this too, to make it look like icicles slash frosting. That's my goal. It's looking pretty good though. I'm really liking it. I do need to pop out some of these gumdrops a little bit more so they're more like pronounced on the outside. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to push the baubles from the inside. Like this. Like, look at that pink. That pink is like inward, right? But if I push it out like that, boom, suddenly it is a gumdrop. Love it. Okay, so this is going to be the main, I think the main round of difference in from our original pattern that we're working off of. Yeah, I think I'll help you out with that, Cooper, to be honest. I'll probably I think we should double team it to make that easier to find all the names of all the characters. Okay, so this is gonna be round 10 of the gingerbread house roof. An optional round, I would say. If you don't want to do this, cut the yarn, pull it through, hide the end. But if you do want to add a drippy border, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work into these. I'm gonna work into the front loops only of all of the last round's stitches, and we're gonna go into that round. We're gonna do a slip stitch in the first. Yeah, we'll do one slip stitch, and then we're gonna chain 2, and then we'll slip stitch into the first chain that we made, and then we'll slip stitch into the next front loop, like that. So that'll make like a little tiny, see what we're doing there? So we're gonna basically be doing icicles in multiple different sizes, split up between slip stitches. So I think it's gonna be more fun to kind of randomize this, but it's kind of hard to explain that in the written instructions. So when I go to the written instructions here, I think what we're gonna say is the eave. Thank you. Someone said Stuff Says. That's what they're called. The eave is what we're working on. So on this eave, to make this drippy border, we're going to do one slip stitch and then one icicle chained between 2 and 3, maybe 4. And then slip stitches in between. So So slip stitch 1, icicle, slip stitch 1, and then repeat that with more or less slip stitches in between. So we'll do 2 slip stitches now. And let's do a slightly longer icicle. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Skip the first chain and slip stitch into the next 2 chains down. And then slip stitch into the next stitch over. That's pretty good, right? Let's just see it on our piece. Is that too long of an icicle? Okay, I think that's the longest we should make the icicles, actually. Yeah, I think so. And we want the icicles to be like separated like closer and further together. So we're going to do 1 slip stitch and then a small icicle by chaining 2 and slip stitching into the first chain that we made and then slip stitching into the next stitch. Okay, now we're going to do a few more. Let's do like 3 slip stitches now. 1, 2, and 3. So that way they're not too close together. And then we're going to do, let's do another small one. Chain 2, skip the first and slip stitch 1, and then slip stitch into the next front loop. Okay. It's looking good so far. See this on the top there? Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Let's do another slip stitch into the next stitch here. And then let's do a longer icicle again. So chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Skip the first and slip stitch 2. And then we'll slip stitch to the next one. And let's do another slip stitch into the next one after that. I'm gonna keep putting this right where it's supposed to be on the top here, so that I can make sure that I'm not overdoing this. I think it's looking good though. Okay, so I think we should probably reduce the drippies though from here on. So let's do 1, we'll do 2, 3, and then another chain 2 and slip stitch 1 for a small drip. And then we'll do 1, 2, let's do another 3 there. Yeah, we'll do another small drip here. Chain 1, 2, and then slip stitch into the first, and slip stitch into the base chain again. 1, and we'll do 2 there. And let's just do another small one right here. 1, 2. This way it's like nice and close to the first or to the last one we made. Okay. All right. And then we'll do 1, let's do 2, let's do a little bit more, 3, that's good. And then we'll do let's do a long drip. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and slip stitch 2, 1, and 2, slip stitch into the next one, and then let's just do one more small drip. 1, 2, yeah, we'll do one more small drip here. I think this is going to be good. And then we'll do slip stitch 1 and 2. I think that's going to be good. Yeah. Okay, now we'll finish this up by cutting the yarn, pulling it through, and we just want to hide this end to finish up our roof. Into that back bump. That. This stitch, Nice. Okay. Very nice. Look at that. Okay, let's cut the yarn. And it's a mess on the inside, but we're just gonna have to deal with that. It's an elves version of like popcorn roof. There we go. So we got that the roof on there. Hey guys, come on. This is looking good. I think this is looking pretty good. Just for a reference, this is our drawing so far. Hey, come on, right? That's coming together. That's looking great so far. Okay, so the next things I think we want to work on is probably I think what we want to work on next is probably either the chimney at the top or you know what? No, I think the chimney on the top is going to have to be the last part. I think what we're going to have to do is make the door, and then we'll work on our... Yeah, we're going to do a door. I think the doors make sense. Okay, so we're going to do the door next. Let's go ahead and put that on. We'll keep that off to the side for right now. The door we're going to do in brown, because we want to make it a chocolate door. And I'm going to do a rounded door. There's like basically an arched door. There's basically 3 doors in the gnome home patterns that you can do. You can do a button door, which is just basically where you sew on a button. You can do a rounded door, which is where you basically crochet a circle and sew that on. Or you can do an arched door. And that's what we're going to do, is an arched door. Because I think it looks a little bit more like a chocolate, like a piece of chocolate. So we're going to start with our brown, make a slip knot. And then I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to skip our first chain and single crochet 3 down. Skip our first chain. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets into the last chain right here. 1, 2, 3 into that last one. And then we're going to turn this 180 degrees, working along the bottom of the chains right here. We're going to do 3 single crochets. So we're going to go into the next one right here. And I'm going to work around this tail end as I go. And we're going to go 1 and 2. And then 3 will be right there. Okay. And we'll leave this end here. And continue on to row 2 of the arch door. That's going to be row 1. For row 2, we're going to turn and chain 1. Skip the chain, and we're going to single crochet 3 times up. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do 3 increases in a row. So 2 in each stitch for 3 stitches. 1 increase and 2 increases will be right there. And then we'll do 1 more in the last one there. I think it's good to do this to kind of explain what I'm doing as I go. But if I'm getting over the top, please let me know in the chat. 2, and then we got 1 more increase here. 1, 2. And then we'll do 3 more single crochets to get to the end of the row here. And I think in row 1 we had 9 stitches, whereas row 2, which we're just finishing now, we should have, I believe you should have 12 stitches at the end of that row. Okay. All right, row 3 now. Last row of our door, we're going to turn and chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet 3 to get started. Skipping the chain, of course. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times around. So 1 single crochet, and then 1 increase. 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Do you hear Jimbo? 1 single crochet, And then 1 increase. That's my cat screaming in the background. I told you he's screaming. And then 3 single crochets to get to the end of this row. 1, 2, and 3 will be right here. All right, and that's going to end row 3. We should have 15 stitches around. You can see how that's going to get sewn onto there. Now, I do want to make this look like more, just slightly more like a chocolate piece. So what I'm thinking is we can do slip stitches. Either we can either do slip stitches up or I can embroider. I think it'll look better. Well, anyhow, let's chain 1 here. Cut the yarn. I want to cut it long enough to sew this onto the piece. You know what? Maybe we'll just use this end to try to add our detail. That might be the easiest way to do it. Is just like sew it on and then use this end to sew basically a square. Or like a grid, rather. I think that's how we'll do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and sew this onto the home. So we're gonna go. I'm just gonna use these 2 tail ends to sew this on. And I'm just gonna kind of hold it in place as I do this. So we'll go right into here. Just start. Pull that through. Okay. And then we want to sew this part on. So I'm just going to kind of roughly sew it on, honestly. I'm not going to get it too like detailed. But I'm basically going to go in through 1 stitch here. Like that. And then out through a next stitch. And I don't think this is the whip stitch. What is this stitch called? When you go in through and then out the stitch and then in through the same stitch. I don't know what it's called. I don't know the terms of embroidery. Terms of embroidery, that could be something. All right, up through this stitch, like a book title or something. Or a band, I don't know. In through this next stitch here. That. And then let's go through this one. That maybe? Stitch does not want to. Why are you stuck? Hold on just a moment. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong there, but whatever. We're just going to ignore that. Looks like it split the yarn a little bit. That's alright. We're just going to ignore that. Keep going. Got some of Jules' hair floating around. Alright. Oh, my iPad's about to die. I forgot we're leaving that long tail end. Let's get that back in there. Okay. Just a few more stitches here to get this door sewn on. Last one I want right there in that last stitch, but come on. There it is. Nice, okay. In through this stitch, the base. And now what I want to do is I'm going to come up through the very center, like right here. And we're going to embroider on just like a little, I'll come right through that center first. We're going to embroider on just like a little grid to the very center of this door. We're just going to go straight up like that. And then in through the top. Like this. And then we'll come out somewhere here on the side, maybe like right there. Nice. And then I'm just going to go across it like that. Go into this. And then we're going to come out like here. Let's see how that goes. Nice, okay. And then one more over like that. And the idea here is I really want this to look like chocolate. I mean, I don't know how much it looks like chocolate, but that was the goal. We'll go across into this stitch, into the inside, and we'll double knot both the brown ends together. Oh, wait, you know what? One more thing. We're going to take this tail end here, and before we double knot it, we'll add our bead to this. So we're going to come out through where we want our door handle, which I think is going to be like right there. Hold on, we worked around our white yarn here. There we go. Fixed it. Okay, so we come out of the center here. Now let's get a bead. I'm just going to use I have like a thing of them somewhere. One moment, please. One moment, please. Where do I keep the beads? Yeah, they're in here. I could hear it. Yeah, baby. One of those guys. That's what we want. Okay, so one of these, maybe white actually. No, maybe. Actually, maybe this green. This green feels very. This green feels right. I'm gonna take this green here, and I'm pretty certain that this will not fit through the loop of that. So we're gonna. Oh shoot! My computer's about to die. 1 second. Pull that through. Okay. One moment. There we go. I can fix this before everything turns off. Badoop. Scoop the loop. All right. So we threaded that onto our end here, and then I'm going to take this and go right back into one stitch over. Let's go like right here, and then we can double knot the two brown ends together like that. And now we have like a little door handle. Hey, come on, that was clever. That was a clever way to do that. I feel like a little smarty pants. All right, and let's try to double knot these like tight enough to keep everything in place, but I don't want to like pull in our stitches or anything, so we're going to try to keep it loose-ish without messing our whole piece up like that. Cut those close. And there's our door. Okay. Hey, I like that, right? That's our chocolate chip door. Our chocolate door. That looks like a piece of chocolate to me. I think the grid was a really good move. What do you guys feel like? I feel like that the grid really sold that it's chocolate to me. But I am open to thoughts. If you think I'm wrong, I will ignore you completely. Okay. Next up, we're going to be making, let's make our window next. So our window, I want to do like a candy, like a peppermint window. So I'm going to need my white yarn. And this one's going to be weird. I'm going to incorporate a technique that I don't actually use very often here to make these. We're going to make a magic loop in white. And I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm just going to talk my way through it as I go. Magic loop in white. And we'll do, let's do 2, 3, 4. If I do 6 stitches here, and then we increase up to 12, that might be a little big for a window. But It'll allow us more color changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna do 1 stitch in white here. And sorry, 1 second, I'm thinking. I can't remember how I did this. Because I've done this before, but I can't remember how. I think I did 1 stitch in white like that, and then we leave that loop there, and then I pull a loop through in red, like, actually let's just make it a slip knot to make it easier. Just bear with me here. I'm figuring it out. That's our white. Then we pull this red one through under it like that. And then we'll do a chain in red. And then I'm going to do a single crochet into the magic loop in red, like that. So we got 1, 2, I think we'll just do 4 of these. We pull that out. And then I need more red. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll just pull this loop out really far. Cut it. And then we need the other end of the white. Okay. Here's our tail end of the white. Let's try this again now. Now we'll make a slip knot in our other end of white. And we're going to go under. Oh, I wasn't supposed to crochet around that white. Okay, wait. Let me try this again then. Sorry, I'm figuring this out. And this, honestly, this might not be the best way to do it, but I think it's kind of fun. The thing I'm worried about here is explaining this after the fact. Okay. Chain 1 in a red there, around the white, and then we single crochet into the stitch, into the magic loop in red, like that, and then we leave that there, and then we grab our other white, yeah, I know there's a way to make spirals in the round too. There's like a bunch of different ways. I'm just trying to make it the like. The other thing I'm thinking is we could, instead of doing it the way I'm doing it right now, which is extremely complicated but might look really good, is we could just do a white, working in the front loops only, and then just add the red in with embroidery. Now let me cook. I can do this. I can do this. Slip knot in our white. Okay, we're going to keep all of this separate, so make sure the red and the previous white are separated. Into the magic loop there. Pull a loop out of white. Chain 1. And then working around our little tail end here, we'll single crochet 1 in white. And we'll leave this loop there. Okay. And then we want to do 1 more of these in red. Let's pull this magic loop a little tighter too. It's hard to know which end is which here. We're going to go into this magic loop, and we want to pull through another end of red, and this is going to be our last red. We'll do 2 of each. We'll pull through a loop in red, do a chain in this, and then we'll single crochet into that with red. Okay, now we're going to pull our magic loop tight. And then we're going to keep going with our red first. Oh, what a mess. What a mess. I got to be careful about which tail ends I pull here. This tail end? Yeah. Okay, that tail end. Okay, so we're going to continue with our red first. And I'm going to do into our first white single crochet that we made right here. We're going to do an increase in red. So that's 1 and 2 in that red. Pull that red out. Move over to our white. With our white loop, we're going to go into the first red single crochet we made. We're going to do an increase in red. 1 and 2. Then we're going to pull that red out. And then we're going to switch back to the white out. We're going to pull out over to the next red and then into our first white or last white stitch that we made. Where's the tail end? Here it is. Okay. We're going to do an increase in this red one first, next to. No. Which tail end am I using here? The end attached to this, I believe. No. This end. Okay. Into this first stitch here. Okay. Increase in this stitch. 1 and 2. Oh, I hope this works. Okay, last white one right here. This looks like it's going to be a mess. And then into this last one we made. 1 and 2. Okay, let's look at what we got here. No, this ain't it. I don't think this is it. Whatever, let's just slip stitch each one of these and cut it and we'll look at what we got. I think this is not going to work. We're going to have to switch it up, but that's okay. Slip stitch in that stitch. I'll go ahead and cut the red because I don't want this to be big anyhow. This is an extremely complicated way to make a not so good end here. Pull this red tail end. That's what I want. Pull this tail end in. Or not. Whatever. I just want to see what happens now. I don't think this is what we're going to use. I just want to see now. Slip stitch in white. Cut, pull through. Back to this red. Yeah, don't worry about it, Cooper. Don't worry about this part. Yeah, sorry. I'm. This is why I'm not gonna have this as the final version of this because it's gonna be too complicated to explain anyhow. Slip stitch in this one, and we'll cut the yarn here. Pull that through. Okay, let's see what we got. So I'd still need to like hide all these ends in. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. No. Look at that. Beautiful. Wow, very candy-like. Get out of here. We don't want that anymore. That could be a toy for Jimbo later. Let's do this again in a better way. Simpler way. Much more simple. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a magic loop in white. Into our magic loop, we're going to single crochet. We're going to single crochet 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull the magic loop tight. Working into the back loops only. We're going to do an increase into every stitch around. I'm going to make sure to work around our tail end here. And we're going to do an increase in each stitch around to go from 3 to 6. 1, 2. 1, 2. And there we go. 1, 2. Okay. It's going to be around 2 there. Alright, pull that a little tighter there. Nice. Okay. Now round 3, we're going to work into those back loops. Keep working in the back loops. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the first. And then we'll do an increase into the next. I think this might make it too pointy, so I might give up on this one too, but we'll find out. 1 single crochet in the first, increase into the next, repeated 3 times around to go from 6 up to 9. Don't forget, we're working into those back loops as we go. 1, 2. I think that was everything. This might not work. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is this big enough for our... Yeah, okay. I think this is going to be big enough. So then I'm going to finish up by... we'll do one more single crochet worked in that back loop. Then we're going to slip stitch into the next one and cut the yarn. We'll leave a somewhat long end for sewing this onto the thing. Now I know this looks pointed, so this is why it might not work, is it's kind of pointy right now. I kind of wanted it to be flat, but I also wanted there to be as many stitches as I could work with to add our red. So now we're going to grab a strand of red here and we'll thread it onto our needle. I'm going to come out through the very center, and I'm going to go around all of those unused front loops around in a spiral like this. Like that. And I'm hoping that this will create a bit of a candy caned but kind of like unique looking stripe is what I'm aiming for here. Let's see. Yeah, actually this kind of is working, I think. The hard part's going to be like flattening it on the piece, but I don't know if it'll be that hard. We'll find out. Do you hear Jimbo? He is yowling. Yeah. He goes, yeah. Homie, yeah. Alright. And then I'm going to also go around the front loops around the outside as well. There we go. Right? Is that gonna look good? Yeah, actually, that might look pretty good. Yeah, that might work. It reminds you of a tiny hat. It is kind of like a little tiny hat. And I'm making sure that it's embroidered tightly as well. Little peppermint window. Just a little bit of my wife's hair stuck in the stitches for some reason. And stitch here. And we'll go to this last one right here. Right? And there's our there's our window. Hey, come on. That works, right? I think that kind of works. It looks a little busy maybe. Yeah, I think this kind of works. The other way we can do it is we can do that what you just said about the spiral. Kaylin. I'm thinking that this will work though a little bit better. It does look, it's a little unique. But I think it looks kind of nice. Yeah? Okay, we're going to go with this then. We're going to go with this. Okay, so then to sew it on, we're going to pull through with this white and this red on the inside. And I'm just going to get this red in the inside and sew it and double knot to the other red, and then this other white, I'm going to go around all those unused back loops rather. Okay, so we're going to start, let's start by going through with this white first. And I'm thinking this side. I think this side is the right side to do our window on. Like this. That, and then I want to pull that tight as well. Like this. Yeah, okay, cool. And then the red ends are next. First one's going to go right through the center. Hello, Chrissy. How are you? Welcome to the chat. Would eat. Me too. Yeah, I've been actually wanting to do a tutorial on how to make spirals. I just haven't... I forgot about how to make normal spirals, clearly. I have made them, though, in a little bit of a different technique. But I can't remember it. I'm having a brain fart on the live stream, which is not the right place to fart. Don't be farting on our live streams. Okay. Next, we're going to go in and in with this red end, where we can double knot to the other red end. Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate that. I'm wondering now if we do really want to add the candy cane supports or not, or maybe we just want to add I don't know if they're going to be really necessary. I feel like with this candy cane window, it's one second. There we go. Okay, so with this candy cane window, I feel kind of like adding the supports. They're going to have to go under the candy canes, and there'll just be more candy cane. I don't know if it's going to be necessary or not. I'm wondering if we do I don't know, maybe something different. Let's go ahead and double knot these red ones though. And we'll cut this close. Maybe we just make a candy cane instead that goes over here on this side. Just one candy cane mailbox or something. Anyhow, we're gonna sew this, finish up this candy cane or this peppermint window by threading our white yarn here, and then kind of I want to sew it in I guess there's fine, into this stitch, out of this one, like that. Yeah. In. Go out here. And I'm kind of sewing this on. I don't need it to be that attached where every single stitch of this window is sewn on. I just need it attached enough so that I know it's not going to come off, basically. So I'm going through pretty much every other unused back loop on the back here. Just making sure that it's attached where I want it to be. But try not to go get too crazy with it. Well, the end there, I kind of did every stitch, but that's all right. Okay. To there. I like the window. I kind of wish it was a little further down, but it's whatever. And then this will go over it like that. Yeah, see, that's why I wish it was down a little bit more. Because it kind of gets covered up by the... Well, actually, if we put this in the right spot, it does kind of dodge it. It's not bad. It's not bad. We're going to do a cherry on the top, and then I think just one candy cane here. And then we'll be done with it. All right, let's double knot these two ends together. And I really want to pull this middle one to try to get that center in more. Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I agree with you. I think that's not a bad idea, though. I just don't know if we need pillars. You know what I mean? I just feel like the pillars are unnecessary now because it's already getting kind of busy with all the gumdrops and the candy canes and blah blah blah. So like, I'm thinking that if we add the pillars, they won't even. I don't even think they're gonna help. You know, I just think they're gonna like. I think we're bordering on too busy. If we add those pillars in, I think what would help is like one thing here, and that's why I'm like, if we do a candy cane, just a really simple candy cane made out of like pipe cleaner, we could do a candy cane here. I wish I had that bell still, and then the cherry on the top in red. You know what? I'm gonna do that. That's it's what my heart wants to do, and so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take okay, so we need a pipe cleaner, preferably in white if I can find a white pipe cleaner. Oh no, we don't have a white pipe cleaner. That's right. We came into this problem last week, and I didn't fix the problem. Okay. Well then. That is an issue. We got an issue. Maybe we can do it in... Maybe we can just... Yeah, Jimbo. Hi, buddy. I know. Screamy boy. Alright, yeah, candy cane on the opposite side of the... There? Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a candy cane here. And we're going to try to do it in this yarn. Or in this pipe cleaner. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a... oh my gosh, my cat is really screaming right now. It's really distracting. Okay, we're going to take this end here, bend that out. Okay. And then we're going to make basically a T. We're going to fold this in half here. Like that. Go down. And then fold this in half. Like this. Will this go? Yeah, that should be long enough. Okay, so like that. Then we're going to go around this end. And see, we made kind of like a little T there. And then we're going to twist these two ends together just a little bit. Actually, that's probably fine like that. And then we're going to take our needle. We're going to go into the tip of one of the two ends of our T. And I'm just going to start twisting it around. By the way, Cooper, for this part, you can probably just rewrite like the way we make like the hummingbird nose or something like that. It's kind of like basically the same system. Or the narwhal horn. So we're going to twist that together. We don't need it too twisted. It's probably good. I just want to keep it like doubled up. We're going to do the same on this end. This. I just want to keep an open gap enough so that you can fit your needle into the very end of your pipe cleaner. There we go. So now we have like a little weird end here. Like that. Okay. So next up, we are going to wrap this whole thing in white. Should we connect it first? Maybe connect it onto it where we want it to be, and then we wrap it. No, we'll just wrap it. Okay, so here's how we're gonna wrap it. We need our white yarn, and luckily we have probably just enough to make this work. And so we're gonna take this white yarn. I'm gonna fold it over itself like this, like place it on the end of the pipe cleaner there, and then we're going to go around the pipe cleaner up to the edge there, just up to the tip a little bit, and we'll try to keep this in place as best we can. And then we want, oh my goodness, hold on, let's actually cut this white yarn so it's like half this size because it's really long right now. Okay, and then we'll thread the end on our needle. Is the music really intense? I'll change it. Let's go with this one. And we'll see how that goes. Okay. We're almost done, by the way. All right, so we want to just do... we're going to wrap this around. We're going to go flat. And we're going to go wrap it around. I'm going to wrap it down for just a second and then wrap back up just to hold that white yarn in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the very center of this pipe cleaner with our white yarn. Like this. Okay. There we go, like that. And then I'm going to keep going around into the end of this pipe cleaner with our white yarn just to completely cover it best we can in white. So the goal here is we want to wrap all the way around this pipe cleaner in white to completely cover it with white yarn. So we're going to start by going around this end, and then we're going to wrap all the way back down to the center. Go around that end. Just see how there's like little fuzzies? We want to skip those fuzzies. I don't think that... I don't know why that music's really stopped. You know, we're just going to go back a few. Yeah, we'll go back to this song. All right. In. There we go. Okay, and once it's wrapped around the end as best you think you can, now we want to start going back. Oh wait, you know what? I can do one more to that end. This. Okay, now we want to kind of wrap back down the pipe cleaner in white and try to cover up the pipe cleaner as much as you possibly can without like creating weird lumps in the white. So just keep going, working our way down. And don't worry about, there's like going to be some parts where the white or the pipe cleaner is going to show through. Don't worry too much about that because we can cover it up some in red later anyhow. You see this other white tail end is getting wrapped around with white now. So at this point we can probably just cut it. And it shouldn't come undone because it's all wrapped around anyhow. So I'm going to cut that nice and close. And now we just have one end of it. Keep going around. When we get to the center part here, these two ends, we want to skip them. And get onto the other end right here. Actually, let's do one more. Nice. Yeah, and I'm going to kind of go a little bit more open now at the end because I'm going to be able to come back down this as well to wrap back up. And we're going to do the same thing as we did on this side on the other side. So we're using our needle. I'm going to go into the center here. And we're going to wrap around the other tip of this pipe cleaner to cover that side as much as possible too. This probably wouldn't be as bad if I had a white pipe cleaner, but I forgot to look for my pipe cleaners. I know I've got them somewhere. Hey, happy Christmas! Right back at ya. I'm almost done. Yes, we're almost done with our gingerbread house. Just a few more. I just want to finish this candy cane up, and then that's really it, actually. Oh, and then the cherry at the top. The chimney, the cherry chimney. But yes, we are almost done. Ain't that exciting? Okay. Nice. Okay, now I'm just gonna go, oh, I kind of want to cover that a little bit up too. Nice. Okay. Flatten it, and then we're gonna go work our way back down this, covering as much of the pipe cleaner as we can with our white. And this last part's kind of weird. What we want to do is we want to take our needle like this, pointing upwards, and keep wrapping around, but also wrap around the needle. And what we're doing right now is we're creating like an end where when we pull this through, now if we pull this needle through it, what it should do, if I did it right, it should create a little knot. There we go, nice. That. Did get a little thick there for a second, so I'm going to try to like flatten that as best I can. But because we wrapped around that needle, we can cut this close, and our white yarn is all held together, so you don't have to worry about the white coming out. It does look a little strange right now. Just a little bit. Do we decide on a name? Oh, good question. We need a name. I kind of wish I covered the top a little bit more in white, but that's okay. Let's just kind of like, see if I can't like fix it up a little bit. Let's finish, we'll get this done in just a second. Let's figure out our name of our elf. So we've got 2 votes. 75 votes go to, oh, Alfonso. Oh, it's Alfonso on both ends. It's Alfonso-zo. Okay, so this is Alfonso-zo, our little elf character for today. Is Alfonso-zo. So just so you know, Alfonso-zo. Okay, back to it. Candy cane. I kind of think we should attach this in and then add our candy cane color. And then bend it. So this is going to get bent in like that. Once we add a bunch of red. But let's... yeah, let's attach it into the thing first. So I'm just going to bend it for right now just so we can see what the bend, where the bend's going to be. Because we want it like that. With a candy caned. Perfect. And then this... so if this goes like right like that, yeah, that's nice. Okay, so we're gonna go in through 2 stitches, 2 adjacent stitches on the side of the house with the ends, the like tail ends of our pipe cleaner here. I can. That. Pull that in there. And then I'm just going to twist these 2 ends together on the inside. Just a few times. And then we're going to cut these ends. I don't actually suggest using scissors for this. If you can avoid using scissors, I just have those at hand. Just because it can dull your scissors a little bit. But now we have this candy cane is attached to the house already. And now we can just add the red. So we're going to take some red. Yes, Alfonso, you. That's exactly it. We haven't named the angel. That's a good point. We should get a name suggestion for the angel going too. One moment though. Let's go ahead and get this candy cane done, and then we can get the name for the angel vote going as we make our cherry at the top. Okay, so this part, I think what we're gonna do for this part is I'm gonna go in through the bottom of it, like this, I think. And we're gonna come right out the tip of the candy cane, so that way like the bottom gets held on into place as well. What I'm kind of thinking. So it's not like always like sticking out too much. We go like right to there, and I just right down through the bottom. This, and we'll leave a little bit left over. But then we come out through the tip of our candy cane. That. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then unfortunately I kind of gotta go around. We gotta kind of use our needle for this, but plan is here. Like that. And we just start candy caning it. That. This might have been easier to do before we attached it, but we've done what we've done, and we need to deal with our repercussions at this point. So I'm gonna make sure that it is as like evenly spaced as I can as I continue doing this. You know? Up, like that, up, and over. Once we get past our midpoint, it'll be a little easier to do this. I wish I had another bell. I don't know if I do, but it would be nice to have a second bell to hang at the end of this candy cane, so that you knew whose house it was. It's Alfonso's. It's Alfonso use. That. Send a little tighter. I'm gonna pull these ones a little tighter, kind of try to tighten that loose bits. All right, sure. And now we can just, this should be a lot easier now that we've gotten past that halfway point. I think we can now just go and wind it. Like this. Like that. Okay. All the way down to the end. Go in through the center here. And we're going to go into the body with this. Or into the house, rather. Okay, and let's make sure this is in the shape we want. So we want it to bend down like that. See, now is where it would be nice to have a... It'd be really nice to have something to hang from this. What can we hang? Do I have another bell anywhere? I don't know. I don't know if I do. I can look though. I think it looks pretty good as far as like a candy cane goes. I just don't know what I can hang from the end of this. Let's see. Do I have bells? No, I don't know where my bells are. Oh, wait. I do know where they are. I do know where they are because I saw them the other day and I was like, oh, that's where they are? In here. Right? Yes, I hear them. In here? No. I was wrong. I hate being wrong. don't know where our bells are. We lost them. We used the last one for the top of our elf. So I'm just going to hide this end instead. So I'm going to go up a few stitches, trying to work into the back of this yarn. Just for a few. Like that much. We need pliers. There we go. And that should hold it in place. Cut that thread. Should cut it even shorter. Okay, there's our candy cane. And this end right here, we'll just double knot this end to this close by yellow to keep it attached. There we go. And sure, we'll cut it. Okay. That keeps the ends in there. Nice. Hey, come on. That's pretty good, right? Oh, yeah, that's pretty great. Actually, I think it's not bad for a candy cane. And then here's our roof. Like that. Now all we need to do is add our cherry at the top and I think we'll be done. Okay, cool, let's do it. Okay, so for our last part, I call this the chimney. It's kind of like not a chimney, but it is. Hold on, I gotta find it. We're gonna need a red yarn for this, of course. And we're gonna make a magic loop to start it. There we go. Elf Zozo. Alfonso. Oh, wait. Sorry. Before we start this, we gotta vote for our angel name. Okay, so now we're gonna be naming our angel from last week, by the way. So if you're in the poll, we're gonna be voting for the name of this fella here. So let me go ahead and throw the name suggestions from our chat, from earlier in the chat. Oh, whoa. Okay. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Got our name suggestions. Now we go, and we'll say, oopsie, sorry. Our angel. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. There's one vote done. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Name suggestions for our angel. We've got Yarniel, Rasputia, Horatio, or Sanguinius. Those are the name suggestions for our beautiful, very biblically accurate angel. Vote now for what you want to name our angel. And let's get back to finishing up our gingerbread house. Okay. So for the last part here, we want to add a string chimney. We're going to start with our red yarn and make a magic loop. And I'm going to single crochet 6 times into the magic loop. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. We'll pull that tight. For round 2, we're going to single crochet into each stitch around. I'm going to work around our tail end for the first, like, 1, 2... We'll do the first 3 stitches. I'll work around our tail end here. And I actually don't want to cut the tail end close. I'm going to actually pull it through the end of our magic, or the very tip of our chimney here to make it look more like a, gosh, I'm blanking here. Cherry. So we're going to, there's our 6 single crochets around. I'm going to pull my loop out really quick, go back into the center, and pull our tail end from the very start through the center, which we can use now, like I said, to make the stem of our cherry. So I'll cut it about that long. That's probably going to be too long, to be honest, but for right now it'll work. For now it'll work. Okay. Next up, round 3 of our chimney, we're going to slip stitch 1 into the back loop of the first stitch and the 4th stitch at the same time. So in this back loop, there's our first, and 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. We're going to slip stitch into those like this. Okay, not too crazy, actually pretty easy. And then we're going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's see how long that's going to be. We want a little longer than that. Let's go to 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's do 20 just because I want it to be even. 20 chains. Then we're going to cut the yarn, pull it all the way through, and here's how we're going to attach this to the top. First thing we're going to need is our needle. Thread that end on our needle. We're going to go straight down through the center of the top of our roof. Like that. Pull it all the way through. So there's just a little bit sticking out like that. Hey, actually that was a pretty good length for our stem there, I think. Now what we want to do is sew this onto the bottom. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to kind of like fold it out a little bit. And I don't know if you remember, but when we made round 1 of our very start here, or round 2 rather, we worked into the back loops for a few stitches. Now we want to find those front loops, those unused front loops, and go into each of them, kind of like that. See, I'm like into both of them. Into both of those. There we go. And we're going to go into the chain here. And I actually might do that again. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go into those loops again, out to the other side, and then we're going to double knot it to that long white tail end from the very start of our piece. So do it like that. We're just going to double knot it to this white end, so nothing comes undone. And this is going to be it, you guys. 1 and 2. Cut that nice and close. All right, now let's fix this all up and make it all pretty again. It did get a little weird. Okay. Let's get our top on there. And there is our gingerbread house. Oh my goodness. And see, because we have that cherry on the top there, we can pull this open and it won't fall off. That's why we do that. And now we have a gingerbread house. Oh my god, that's so cute! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! I love it. I love it! Alright, let's take a, and then let's put Alfonso into their elf house. Put them in there like this, just so the little bell is sticking out, and we can still go around the bell like that. And there we go. He's hidden in there. Oh, come on. Yes. Dude. That's awesome. This is so cool. This was a good. This one was a good. I'm happy with that. All right, team. We're going to choose our name for our angel in just a moment. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Seriously, thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Everything and anything. Happy. I hope you guys have had a wonderful year. Now, I'm fingers ultra crossed. I'm going to have one more live stream before the end of the year. Not next Friday. Actually, maybe next Friday. Let me look at the calendar really quick. Hold on. I'm going to try to do it next Friday. If I don't do it, but that's the 26th, so that's the day after Christmas. So I might not, honestly. If I don't, if I'm taking a break, then I'll be back the Friday after the first Friday of the new year. We're going to be doing, for our next live stream, I'm going to do a tier list of all of the things that we made throughout all the live streams this year. And we're gonna choose which ones were the favorites. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for being here today. I know this was an extra long one. Extra special shout out to our to our moderators Zoe and Cooper. You guys rock. We're going to get this as a pattern on the website as soon as I possibly can. Expect it probably by tomorrow. I'm going to try to work on it tonight. Thank you guys again for being here, though. I super appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this multi-stream thing as well. I think this might be our system in the future, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it, though, I got to say. That looks pretty cool. Right? I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, so we look at it in all of its directions, and then we open it. And what do we got? Alfonso. Love it. Love it. It turned out exactly like I was imagining, too. Awesome. Okay. Now let's find out what we named our angel. By the way, again, this is what we are naming. This pattern is on the website, by the way. If you want to crochet it, you can find it on the website. This is from last week's. And our name for our... Oh, yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, it was the same on both votes. Our name is Yarniel. Yarniel. Our beautiful angel from last week's live stream. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous angel. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Candle Nights. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday break. And I will see you guys. I'll see you when I see you. Pasta la pizza. Happy hooking. And... Oh my gosh, stop. You hang up first. Oh my gosh, you're making me blursh. Stop, you're making me blursh. Okay, bye. Bye, everybody. Bye. Pasta la pizza. Goodbye. Oh my god, stop. You hang up first. You're making me blush. You're making me blush. You hang up first. That's funny. This one's kind of all broken up a little bit. I'll fix it up for us. There we go. Nice. Back into outer space for me. Okay, bye!